teams, both of whom are undefeated. Welcome inside the Rock here in Bloomington. Pam Ward along with former Florida State quarterback Danny Kanell. It's the quarterback from Michigan that's been grabbing all of the national headlines. Denard Robinson leading the nation in rushing. Had to leave last week's game against Bowling Green, but he's fine, ready to go today.
He truly is a dynamic player at the quarterback position, and I don't think any player in the country has a greater impact on his offense than Denard does. He accounts for over 80% of one of the most prolific offenses in the entire country.
And he can do things in a lot of ways. It's pretty simple. At least he makes it look simple, Danny.
Well, he's a quadruple threat at the position. He can give it, he can run it, he can pitch it, or he can pass it.
So Denard Robinson, as we mentioned, even as a quarterback, leading the country in rushing, and he's our main storyline.
Well, he can take a simple play and turn it into a huge gain. Let's look at this play. You've got a simple quarterback sweep to the left. He's got his blockers out in front of him, but even when the defense stays outside contained, he still has the amazing speed to get to the corner, and when they over pursue, he has the ability to cut it back, and he gets great backside blocking from his offensive line. They seal the backside because they know they've got such a dynamic force at the quarterback position. And not only that, the safeties, the second level, they can get great position as well, but Denard just simply has too much speed where he can turn a simple sweep into a 47-yard touchdown.
So much speed, in fact, that he really is a terrific sprinter on the Michigan track team. Has run 100 meters in the low 10s. That's how good he is. All right, so all Indiana has to do is try to contain him today. How?
Well, they better get a lot of guys around the football, and there's 3 players today for Indiana's defense that are really going to have to step it up. Tyler Rapogel, Donnell Jones, and Mitchell Evans will have to fly to the football and help each other out. That's really going to be the key, is to corral Denard Robinson.
They did a lot of extra work today, or this week, on tackling. Meanwhile, we can't forget the other quarterback, Ben Chappell, leading the Big Ten in passing, getting ready to take on the Hoosiers in the battle of the unbeatens.
This is Tailgate Week. This is Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal.
Welcome back to Bloomington. It is indeed Kingsford Tailgating Week, and a great day to tailgate. A lot of rain actually in Bloomington this morning, the first appreciable rain they've had here in weeks, and it did not deter the fans from coming out. And this is a sellout, the first sellout here actually since 2007. And right off the bat, we're going to see a dynamic player for Indiana. Tandon Doss took the opening kick last week, 41 yards. Also against Western Kentucky, took it back 87 yards earlier this year.
He is versatile. He can do a lot when he touches the football, not only on offense, but on the kick returns as well.
And there you see the 87-yard return at Western Kentucky a couple of weeks ago. And then last week in the 35-20 win against Akron, another big return for him, 41 yards for the junior from right up the road in Indianapolis. Seth Brookhuizen getting ready to kick off to Indiana. Indiana has lost 16 straight games to Michigan, including a 36-33 heartbreaker that was played last year in Ann Arbor. We are underway. Short kick taken by Doss around the 5. And he is taken down from behind. That's a great special teams tackle for Michigan. 17-yard return. Floyd Simmons, the backup safety, give him credit for the ankle tackle. And here comes Ben Chappell, led the Big Ten in passing last year, and he also was #1 this year. Last week, his first career 4-touchdown game in that victory against Akron. Very different kind of quarterback than Denard Robinson.
I don't think you could have any polar opposites as far as these two QBs.
Chappell completing 72% of his passes. Big rush, he's able to get it off, but throws it out of bounds. Looking for Kofi Hughes, a true freshman, but Mike Martin, a very disruptive nose tackle, was honing in on him.
Well, he disrupted Ben Chappell on that throw, and that's something they're going to have to do all day long. If they want to stop this Indiana high-powered offense, they're going to have to get pressure on the QB. It's easier said than done because he knows where to get rid of the football quickly.
Indiana #1 in the Big Ten in passing offense, last in rushing offense. Here is their first rush. Darius Willis, who had the game of his life last year against Michigan, picks up 6 on his first carry. Here are today's Impact Players, brought to you by Russell Athletics, and we just saw Willis's first carry.
And he had a huge game last year. He's going to definitely try to feed off of that today.
Terrence Turner, a fifth-year senior, coming off his first career 100-yard receiving game last week. And Jonas Mouton, one of the Michigan defenders who has to have a big game. 3rd and 4, opening drive for Indiana. Chappell to Doss, who caught it for the first down. 14 yards and a first down to keep the drive going.
And Indiana is one of the most efficient teams on 3rd down. It's because of Ben Chappell. He knows where to go with the football, and all of their schemes, they do a great job of getting guys wide open in space. And I think that's going to be a theme you're going to see a lot today. It's a lot of balls through the air for Indiana.
They convert on 53% of their 3rd down so far. Here they are in the pistol formation, something they put into their offense last season. And a good throw against the grain to Doss. Tandon Doss has 2 catches, both of them for first downs.
And what made this play successful is the play action out of the pistol. That's one of the unique things when you have the back behind you, you can really stick it in there. Everyone's fooled on the Michigan defense, and that's how they're able to pick up the extra yards. Tandon Doss, when you get him in open field, he can be quite the threat.
Doss picks up 15 on that catch. So it's first down for Indiana from the 42 of Michigan. Willis still in the backfield in the pistol. This time he gets it. There's a huge hole, but boy, did it close in a hurry. Jonas Mouton, who we highlighted as one of our impact players, with the tackle.
And Indiana has installed this pistol back in the spring of 2009, and basically what it does, and adds another dimension to the shotgun formation, really disguises where the running back is going to be. He kind of hides behind the quarterback, and it's tough for the linebackers to find him back there. And the bottom point right there allows for more play action passes like we just saw a few plays ago.
And Bill Lynch's coaching staff visited Nevada. Chris Ault, the inventor of the pistol offense, still in charge out there, and they went to Nevada. Might as well go to the source of it all, and they did that last year. Willis, another hole, another first down. There he goes, dragged by the shirt and taken down eventually by J.T. Floyd, but Willis just picked up 24 more yards.
Darius Willis, here you've got 3 defensive linemen for Michigan, and I really feel that's going to be one of their problems, is defending the run. Everybody's talked about Indiana's passing games. When you only have 3 defensive linemen in there, you better control the line of scrimmage, and your linebackers better do a good job of filling those holes.
I mentioned last year that Willis ran for 154 yards against Michigan, including an 85-yard touchdown run. This is their first visit into the red zone, opening drive of the game. Nothing doing this time for Willis. Taken down by Ronaldo Sagase, a senior from Montreal. Loss of a yard for Willis.
And that's the kind of backside pursuit they're going to have to get to chase down the running backs for Indiana today.
Indiana very prolific offensively in their first 3 games, but not really tested, playing Towson, Western Kentucky, and Akron, 3 teams that are an aggregate 1-11 going into play today. 5 receivers out there now, including 4 to the right of Chappell. But he goes the other way, sticks it for the catch. DeMarlo Belcher fights his way down inside the 5, where it will be 1st and goal for the Hoosiers.
And Chappell, what makes him so dangerous, he's a very cerebral quarterback. He knows where to go with the football. You've got the trips formation over here. You've got a little decoy over here. Everybody thinks that the ball's going to go to the right. Even Ben Chappell takes a little start to the right, but comes to the backside. Catches the Michigan defense completely off guard.
They have 4 first downs already on this drive. Now 1st and goal. And it's given to Doss, who came across the field, but a good tackle staying with it. Jordan Kovacs, leading his team in tackles, made the stop. They still picked up a couple of yards. Doss, such a versatile player. In fact, we talked to him yesterday, and he said that was his strength. Was his versatility. And there you see the current drive, play number 10 coming up.
And it's actually been a pretty balanced drive, a mix of the run and pass, which is a little bit surprising. Indiana's been predominantly a passing game attack, but I think they're doing a great job of mixing it up here today.
Number 1 in the league in pass offense, dead last in rush offense, and Willis isn't going anywhere but down, wrapped up in the big arms of Ryan Van Bergen. Lost a couple of yards. So a 3rd and goal coming up from outside the 5.
In Michigan, their front 4, you see they had 4 down linemen in that time, so they had bigger bodies in there, and they're able to manhandle Indiana's offensive line. It's just a numbers game out there. That's why I really feel like when they run the 3-3-5, they are susceptible to the run game.
3-3-5, a defense that Rich Rodriguez also used to great success at West Virginia, now in his 3rd year at Michigan. Sun starting to shine, same formation with those 5 receivers we saw a couple of plays ago. Chappell with time, nowhere to go. He throws it into the end zone, found the target. Touchdown Indiana, DeWeese Wilson brings it in for the score.
Ben Chappell here does a great job using his vision. Look at how far they spread out the receivers. Everyone's spread out, the Michigan's defense. You'd love that as a quarterback, to be able to buy yourself some separation. The more spread out the guard, the harder it is for the defenders to cover them.
Wilson with his first career touchdown catch. Mitch Ewald hammers home the extra point. A picture-perfect start for the Indiana Hoosiers, their opening drive. 11 plays, here's number 11. Great patience by Chappell. Wilson got open. It's 7-0 Hoosiers.
Smithville. Papa's in the IU house. Papa John's, official sponsor of IU Athletics, is proud to honor all the Papas in Memorial Stadium. Visit one of
Welcome back to DeWeese Wilson with his first career touchdown catch, a 5-yarder, capping off a terrific drive, Danny, for Indiana.
And so far, this game hasn't been a letdown. Everybody thought it would be a high-scoring affair. And if you let Ben Chappell stand back there as long as you did on this pass, I mean, he looked to the left, looked to the right, and then finally finds Wilson kind of off the cuff. It was more like one of those situations you go out on the playground and say, hey, get open. That's basically what it came down to at the end of the play.
And Chappell was incomplete through his first pass for an incompletion. After that, he hit 4 straight for 46 yards, capping it off with the touchdown. Chappell now with 10 touchdown passes on the season against no interceptions. Indiana losing at Michigan last year to this team, 36-33, also scored on its opening drive, scored a touchdown, and then had to settle for too many field goals. Now Indiana kicking off. This is Ewald. Stoneham waits deep, but it's taken by one of the up men on a fair catch. Michigan will start at the 24-yard line. That's Kevin Leach, a linebacker, with the fair catch. And here's our first look at Denard Robinson, the sophomore from Deerfield Beach, Florida, averaging 355 yards per game in total offense and leading the nation in rushing.
The numbers he's putting up are just off the charts. I mean, if the Heisman was voted today, I think he would win in a landslide.
Has gone for over 100 yards in each and every game, including against Bowling Green, a game in which he played fewer than 10 minutes. He was knocked out with a knee injury. It's been called a bruised knee. And this time he hands it off. Vincent Smith is starting at running back because Michael Shaw sprained his knee last week against Bowling Green. Shaw will not play. Smith just picked up 4 yards before Darius Johnson made the stop. Here are today's Impact Players, brought to you by Russell Athletics, and we just saw Vincent Smith.
And he should be pretty comfortable back there at 2 touchdowns last week. That's the thing about Michigan. They have so much depth across the board.
Played in 8 games as a true freshman last year. And now the sophomore from the state of Florida starting. Robinson's first carry. Gets the first down and a whole lot more. Now the speed. No way they're going to catch him. Robinson all the way for the touchdown for the Wolverines.
Denard Robinson does not disappoint. Rarely, guys, does it carry over on television, but when you see Denard Robinson, he's just going to take a straight dive, quarterback draw up the middle, and once he gets to the outside, he's gone. And you can talk about angles. If you can freeze it in about a second here, right about here, there's a safety back there who actually tried to take the right angle, but unless you see it up close and personal in person, you don't realize what kind of angle you have to take.
Indiana worked on their angles for tackling, but what you can't work on is facing somebody as fast as Denard Robinson. A 72-yard touchdown run. Just that quickly, Michigan has tied the game up at 7.
She said, Denard, 4. I say 4.
I think Matt named that 10.
All right, marching 100. 4 notes for Matt. And he named that 2. Is it tequila? It is tequila. Congratulations, Matt. You are the winner of Name That 10. Laura, thank you for playing. Please don't forget, feed 2 people at Chili's for $20. It's all in the preparation. Double up on foot and back to the Colonel.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week, brought to you by Allstate. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate. Are you in good hands? Welcome back to Bloomington. Denard Robinson, 1 carry, 1 touchdown, 72 yards, his second longest touchdown run so far this season.
Well, he's an amazing athlete, but you can't do it by yourself. I know he seems like he can, but he gets some great help. They put the tight end in the backfield, number 86, Kevin Koger. He's going to come across and get a little crackback block, and the offensive line's going to cut back to the left. But watch the safety. He is absolutely in jail right there. Looking open field at Denard coming at you. And like we talked about the open, the speed, nobody in the country is going to catch Denard.
Robinson with the score. That was a 2-play, 46-second drive as opposed to Indiana's 11-play, 5-minute and 40-second drive. So we are tied up at 7. Indiana and Michigan both averaging 41.3 points per game, and we are well on our way. Tandon Doss awaits the Brookhuizen kick, collects it at the 3. And Doss, who is a weapon as a return man, breaks free and is eventually hunted down and taken down around the 38-yard line. Let's go now for a SportsCenter U in-game update with Dari Noka. Texas trying to rebound, already down to Oklahoma, rebounding from that very surprising thrashing they took at home last week against UCLA. So now Indiana with the ball for the second time this afternoon. Chappell, flushed out of the pocket, has to throw it away. And that's the sign of a senior quarterback that has not thrown an interception since last season.
Well, that's the thing that Matt Canada said. He's such a luxury to have at quarterback. 5th-year senior, knows his offense inside and out. You can see him scanning the defense, very calm, very poised. And when he's back there, there's no panic in him. He wisely throws it out of bounds, and that's what you want. You want to keep yourselves in manageable situations, and when you throw it away when nothing's there, that's how you do it.
Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator for Bill Lynch, talked about Chappell being a student of the game, likened him to the fellow who plays north of here, Peyton Manning. But Ben wears number 4 for Brett Favre. That's his favorite quarterback. Flag down, our first of the game.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, that's something you would not expect out of this Indiana offense, but had a little trouble getting lined up there, getting guys situated for the right protection, and took the 5-yard penalty.
Chappell 4 of 6 with that 5-yard touchdown pass, make it 4 of 7. Belcher was closest to the football.
And that right there is probably the hardest throw for a collegiate quarterback to make. You're going from one hash across the field to the opposite side on a deep out. I mean, that's where you showcase your arm for the NFL.
Chappell 6'3", 242 pounds. Good size quarterback. Facing a 3rd and 15. Michigan shows blitz, but backs off. Chappell in trouble. Not a good running quarterback, but he's able to escape for some positive yardage. Chased down eventually by Craig Rowe. Picked up 10, but they needed 15.
And Michigan that time went with 4 defensive linemen. You can't see them in the picture, but there are 4 defensive linemen. That's how they're able to flush Chappell outside of the pocket. And he's not a runner. He's fleet of foot where he can move inside the pocket, but he's not going to run for those extra yards.
He's only been sacked twice in the first 3 games of Indiana's season. So here's the first punt. Chris Hagerup, whose brother punts for Michigan. A knuckleball that goes out of bounds. Marked out at the 15-yard line. ESPNU's coverage of college football continues tonight, beginning at 7 Eastern as Georgia Tech takes on Wake Forest. And then you can follow that at 10:30 Eastern, South Carolina State and Florida A&M. College football primetime presented by 5 Hour Energy on ESPNU, part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. For more information, you can always log on to ESPNU.com. Auger up with the 41-yard punt. So here's the second time that Michigan has had the football. The first time they had it for 2 plays. It was a Vincent Smith run, and then Denard Robinson broke one for 72 yards and a touchdown. Handoff to Smith, and he picks up about 3 yards. This Michigan offense, second in the nation in rushing per game, 331 and change. Only the Air Force Academy runs for more yards as a team, and nobody runs for more yards than Denard Robinson as an individual.
And they're going against Indiana's defense, which is giving up 177 yards a game, which is 92nd in all of college football.
Robinson hanging on to it, cuts it inside, and is tackled down after about a 4-yard gain. Good tackle by Lanyata Kyles, a transfer, a junior college transfer from LA. They have tweaked this lineup to get more speed on the field for Indiana, and Kyles is one of those in the starting lineup today.
We talked about 4 threats. He showed 2 of them there. He almost gave it, he almost threw it, he ended up keeping it. I mean, that's the thing. As a defender, what do? You have to pick one, and sometimes he hits you with the other.
You have to make a split-second decision, and even then, even if you make the right decision, he's so fast, sometimes it doesn't matter. 3rd and 1 for the Wolverines. Robinson hangs on to it, easily gets the first down, but there's a flag down as Robinson is dragged down around midfield. Ball comes loose momentarily. Robinson picked up 27.
Offside. Defense, number 10. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Donnell Jones jumping offside, so another big gain. A 72-yard touchdown run, and here's a 27-yard run for a first down.
Look at number 80 in front of him. Absolutely demolish a linebacker. And that's the thing about Denard. He's such an incredible athlete, but then he's got amazing talent around him that blocks for him, that catches for him. It's pretty tough to stop when you look at the weapons Michigan has.
Martell Webb, a senior out of Pontiac. And already with 3 carries, Robinson is over 100 yards rushing today. Here's a pass that he completes. And then a nice move by Junior Hemingway. These wide receivers don't get a lot of attention, but there's some talent out there. That's 17 yards and a first down.
And that's the amazing thing. We talked to Calvin McGee, the offensive coordinator, and said, hey, you know, who's the best athlete outside of Denard Robinson? And he said, who said Denard's the best? And he talked a lot about the receivers. He mentioned Hemingway as a possible potential candidate. Daryl Stoneham, Roundtree, they're all incredible athletes.
First down for Michigan. Robinson going the other way. There's Roy Roundtree, and Roundtree breaks a tackle, finds the end zone. Another touchdown for Michigan. And now Robinson has a running touchdown and a touchdown pass.
And Denard Robinson just made an easy throw, pitch and catch. And Matt Ernest, number 15, left in the open field to try to tackle Junior Roy Roundtree, excuse me, and it's just too much to ask a guy to do. You need to get a lot of defenders to the ball.
Roundtree's second touchdown catch of the season. The extra point gives Michigan the 14-7 lead. The Michigan offense shredding this Indiana defense. 2 drives, 2 scores, 14-7 Wolverines.
Friday afternoon at 4:30 on the Big Ten Network. The deadline for student basketball season tickets is approaching. Visit IUHoosiers.com or stop by the athletic ticket office to order your tickets today. With us today in the South End Zone is the 2010-2011 men's basketball team. The season officially kicks off when your Hoosiers take the floor for Hoosier Hysteria on Friday, October 15th. Come out and see head coach Tom Crean lead them in their first practice of the season. Hoosier fans, your
Welcome back to Bloomington, Indiana. Tailgate week is fired up by Kingsford Charcoal, and this Michigan offense fired up. Denard Robinson, his team up 14-7. Robinson with the 5 plays, 3 runs and 2 passes, 150 total yards, 2 touchdowns, the 72-yard touchdown run and the touchdown pass we just saw to Roundtree.
He brings new meaning to the term human highlight reel. I mean, you don't have to watch the highlights, you just watch every play he's involved in. It's remarkable.
So Robinson with his 5th touchdown pass of this young season, all smiles over there. The sun shining through. We had some morning rain in Bloomington. Brookhuizen, who has a couple of extra points, getting ready to kick it off to Doss, who had a 36-yard kick return the last time he touched the ball. Doss from the 1 this time. Able to slip through a little seam and taken down around the 27-yard line, where Indiana takes over. That's a 25-yard return for Tandon. Log on to Facebook.com/ESPNU today. Become a fan. Let us know your thoughts on today's question, which is, who do you think is the best quarterback in college football right now? I think number 16 is going to get some votes.
Yeah, well, if I had to think about it before the game started, I don't think there's much thought that goes into it now.
There are some folks who would be arguing with you. Some Stanford fans would go with Andrew Luck. Huge game for Stanford coming up later on today. Willis gets the handoff and is taken down at the 29-yard line by Jonas Mutzon. That's a 3-yard gain.
This will be an interesting possession. I know it's early, but for Indiana, they've got to match. I mean, this turns into a basketball game where you've almost got to match them point for point, possession for possession.
Indiana scored on its first possession, and here's the trips left, 3 wide receivers to the left, and Doss running out of the Wildcat. First time they've used that this year, and it does not work. Mutzon getting in on it, and they unveiled it last year for the first time against Michigan. First time we've seen it this season from them.
And Matt Canada acknowledged that they probably would show it today just to try to keep Michigan a little bit off balance. The one unique thing they did there is start off in the backfield and had Ben Chappell actually motion out of it to try to create a little confusion, but Michigan obviously was very prepared for that play.
Now Chappell back in at the quarterback spot on a 3rd and 7. Michigan brings the blitz. It's picked up. Chappell completes it. Terrence Turner able to bring it in traffic for 14 yards and the first down.
Chappell here, this is what makes him so efficient as a quarterback. Watch the pocket movement. His back comes up, he steps up. A lot of quarterbacks will panic and try to run out of there. He stepped up, found the little passing lane, and picked up the first down.
Boy, you got to give Darius Willis a lot of credit for picking up the blitzer on that play that enabled Chappell to find Turner. Now he's going towards his tight end, Ted Bolser, but they were unable to connect, and Indiana using its tight ends often this season, which is unusual for them.
And that's the second time in the game where they've kind of used a little deception with a heavy play action to the right side of the field, and this time they try to go to the tight end. Bolser, almost an outstanding catch, a great throw, just a hair off.
Bolser, the redshirt freshman from Cincinnati, already tying the season record for most touchdown catches by a tight end in Indiana history. He's known as Touchdown Ted, his teammates call him that. He had 19 touchdowns his last 2 years of high school and already 4 as a freshman at Indiana. On second down, that pass misfired, looking for Doss. Here's another 3rd and long for the Hoosiers.
You know, Chappell does look a little bit out of sync today early, and you've got to wonder, it did rain here a lot early, you know, throughout the morning. It's kind of cleared up now, but that throw was a little off earlier, and you're talking about a 70% passer, a guy that you would expect to make an easy completion like that.
72% coming into this game. Hoosiers 3 for 4 on 3rd down so far this afternoon. Michigan only rushes 4 this time. Chappell completes it, but not nearly enough for the first down. Deweese Wilson, who caught the touchdown pass on the first drive of the game for Indiana, only picked up 6 when they needed 10.
It's one of those situations where you kind of look at it and say, well, why didn't he throw it for the distance they needed for the first down? But Michigan's defense just dropping back, keeping guys in front of them, really was Chapel's only option to go with the football. You just hope that somebody misses a tackle, but Michigan was all over it.
Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator in his second year at Michigan. High snap handled by Chris Hagerup. Fair catch called for and taken. That's a 32-yard punt for Hagerup. Jeremy Gallen with the fair catch. Michigan, 2 for 2, touchdown so far. They have the ball when we come back. Welcome back to Sold Out Memorial Stadium. First sellout here since 2007, and they've seen Denard Robinson work his magic already. He has a touchdown run of 72 yards, also a touchdown pass. Michigan leading it 14-7. The Wolverines so far on their first 2 drives averaging 23 yards per play. And Robinson already is over 100 yards rushing. Slings this one out, and it is complete to Martavius Odoms, who is taken out of bounds after about a 5-yard gain.
Well, here's the problem, Plam, for Indiana's defense is they're going to have to do something different. And usually when you're facing a quarterback who's tearing you up, you dial up the blitz. But the problem is Denard Robinson is so accomplished as a quarterback this year throwing the football, they've really got to be careful with the man-to-man matchups on the outside.
104 yards rushing, so he is over 100 yards in all 5 games, and there he faked the run. Roy Roundtree left open, and he's broken it off for another big play. Finally hunted down at the 2-yard line. Matt Ernest had to come a long way to make the tackle, but it's another big play, 74 yards.
Unbelievable how open. Rich Rodriguez is truly a mastermind. Here's Denard. Earlier he scored on the play that he ran the draw on. Watch him fake the draw, pulls it up, almost a little bit like Tim Tebow back with Florida, and able to find a wide open receiver.
And very quickly, Michigan snaps it, and Indiana is going to be caught for a late substitution. And that's another part of their arsenal, is their tempo. They love to snap the ball quickly, especially after a big play.
And you can either catch, guys offside, you can force a team to call a timeout, or you can just get better leverage on guys because they're not ready.
Substitution infraction. Defense, number 75. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Dan Capron, our referee. This is a Big Ten officiating crew, and Bill Lynch with the look that a lot of head coaches have had facing this Michigan offense this year. Rich Rodriguez, much beleaguered in his first couple of seasons, but things are looking rosy for him so far this year. Robinson mishandled the snap, and Indiana gets it. A huge break for the Hoosiers. Robinson unable to bring it in. Tyler Replogle, the captain linebacker for Indiana, picks it up.
And the simplest play in all of football, just the quarterback center exchange. Denard Robinson just does not get the football. And who else would you expect to grab it than Tyler Replogle, the clear-cut leader of the Indiana defense?
Missed last week's game against Akron, suffered a concussion the game before. We talked to him, and boy, you're right, they glowing things they say about Replogle as far as being a leader. But now Indiana is backed up at the 1-yard line. trying to get some breathing room. Chappell sneaks it forward about a yard or so. Mutan with yet another stop for the Wolverines.
I'm not a huge fan of that call. I'd rather give it to your receiver, throw a quick hitch. I mean, what did you really buy there? An extra yard? I mean, I know what you're doing. You're trying to prevent the safety, but I'd rather see you get it in the air. Put it in your hands of your best athletes.
Chappell, not known for his running ability, did pick up about 2 yards. Now he's in the end zone. Out of the pistol, throws it, completes it. Tandon Doss able to stretch close to the first down.
And that's a play I would have liked to see him run on first down. You know, it's just the same issue you could have run.
Denard Robinson talking to the folks upstairs. It is indeed an Indiana first down.
You can see him talking about what happened on the snap. And I'm sure they'll have a little extra work at practice. That was always one of my least favorite things to do after a practice.
David Molk is the center for Michigan. First down pass. Terrence Turner catches the ball this time. Takes it up to the 19-yard line. James Rogers with the stop. Turner, an interesting guy, the senior from Auburn Hills, Michigan, a theater drama major who's been in a couple of plays and also a couple of films, and he's a pretty good talent on the football field as well.
He absolutely is. He's probably their most dynamic receiver. You get the ball in his hands, showing a little bit of power at the end too. A little forearm shiver.
Turner's second in the Big Ten in catches per game behind his teammate, DeMarlo Belcher. 2nd and 4, and they give it to Doss, who came across the formation and picks up the first down.
And Michigan's got some athletes, but don't go to sleep on Indiana's offense. Matt Canada, their offensive coordinator, said this is the best group of wide receivers he's been around in his career. And you can tell when you've got a quarterback who can distribute the football to the right guy, which is what Ben Chappell does, it can make for a pretty explosive offense.
First quarter is winding down, and Chappell, the veteran, going to let it wind down and go to the other end of the field. Denard Robinson, 4 carries for 104 yards on the ground, including a 72-yard touchdown run. He also has thrown a touchdown pass. 14-7 Michigan as we head to the second quarter. Welcome back to the All-State Game of the Week. Our game summary so far, a big first quarter for Denard Robinson.
Huge numbers, still continues the pace that he set in the first 4 games of the season and just continues to impress me with what he's able to do with the football. First of all, he's able to keep it on the ground. And when you talk about fast guys in college football, you might think of a LaMichael James or a Noel Devine, and he might be faster than those guys, and yet he's got the added benefit of being able to throw the football. And Indiana's defense has showed no signs of being able to stop him yet, whether he's been on the ground or through the air.
4 runs for over 100 yards. He's 4 for 4 through the air, so 232 yards of offense for Robinson. 2 touchdowns, 1 running, a 72-yarder, and 1 throwing. Michigan's only had the ball for 3.5 minutes, yet they lead it 14-7. First play of the second quarter, Chappell was hit just as he threw the ball. He completed it to Turner for a 5-yard gain.
And you don't always have to sack the quarterback to get into his head. Chappell has pretty good protection, but takes a pretty good pop there from Mike Martin, the disruptor of Michigan's defense, and those take their toll towards the end of the game.
Martin 6'2", around 300 pounds. A big presence as the nose guard for the Wolverines. Second down, little play action. Chappell hit again, throws it, and it's almost brought in for a catch. There's a flag down. J.T. Floyd defending Tandon Doss. Perhaps a bit too closely.
And we've seen it a few times, the pistol running the play action, try to get the linebackers up. And this is one of Ben Chappell's favorite throws.
Defense, number 12, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
He throws the corner route so effectively, and J.T. Floyd just in there too soon. Easy first down for Indiana.
They get Floyd with the holding call. 8 Indiana first down already. Michigan only has 5. There you see the Indiana offense, much more balanced than we're used to seeing for the #1 pass offense and the worst rush offense in the Big Ten. Another flag comes in as Belcher is belted by Kovacs.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 8, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Jonas Mouton called for the face mask. Rich Rodriguez pleads his case.
Pretty clear-cut face mask right there by number 18, James Rogers on the corner, just trying to do his best. When you get out in the open field and you're trying to tackle a receiver, you grab anything you can to prevent a touchdown.
Misidentification on the field. It was not number 8 Mouton, but number 18, as Danny mentioned, James Rogers. So a holding penalty, and now the 15-yard face mask penalty on this drive. Indiana now has it at the 44 of Michigan. A drive that started after a messed up center quarterback exchange, with Michigan getting ready to score again. Chappell with a 3-man rush. Almost had it intercepted. That was Cameron Gordon who dove for it. Terrence Turner was the intended receiver, but it was nowhere near him.
Well, Chappell, like we mentioned earlier, he's just a little bit off. You can see he's frustrated with himself. He knows that he should have hit his check down, and Turner had plenty of time to look down the field. But watch Chappell looking for his corner out by his tight end. Gives a little pump fake, and then comes back late. And those can be disastrous when you overthrow your check down. Those linebackers can have a field day on that.
Chappell completing 72% of his passes coming into this game. Has not looked like himself so far. There's a completion to Turner, who wiggles free for a couple of extra yards. Picks up 6.
One thing I've noticed so far between the two quarterbacks, when Chappell throws the football, you just see Michigan's defense a little bit tighter. There's guys that are covered a little bit more, and the pursuit to the football is faster. You see here, when Turner catches the ball, immediately there's a defender on him. He makes him miss, but then there's pursuit following it. earlier when we saw Denard Robinson throwing the football, guys just a little bit more open. It took Indiana a little bit longer, to get to the ball, and you would expect that because Michigan clearly has the better athletes.
A lot of youth in that defensive backfield. 8 true freshmen have played on defense for Michigan so far this year. 5 of them defensive backs. Chappell 11 for 17 through the air so far. Here's a 3rd and 4. Trips left. He goes against the grain again and completes it for a first down. Darius Willis with the catch. 5 more yards for Indiana.
And a great job by Chappell taking what the defense gave him on that one. I heard a great quote from Coach Saban today say, if you take what the defense gives you, eventually they'll give you the game. And right there, Chappell just doing his job.
Throws it on the inside slant to Turner, and he's able to get close to another first down. Gordon made the stop. Pick up 9 yards. This Hoosier offense, much more methodical, have to run a lot more plays than the quick strike offense we've seen from Michigan.
And yep, Indiana, exactly, Pam. They're trying to get to the line of scrimmage, put the pressure on Michigan now.
5 receivers in for Chappell, who's by himself in the backfield. Incomplete. Looking for Wilson, who went to his knees and couldn't bring it in. Wilson, they caught the 5-yard touchdown pass from Chappell back in the first quarter.
And a lot of times that'll happen. When you pick up the pace, the defense will give you kind of a softer defense. They want to play a safer thing because they can't get lined up in some elaborate blitz.
Chappell sneaking up to the line and then sneaking for the first down.
So much of the game of football is about the game of deception that goes on. Watch Chappell here. He's going to line up in the shotgun. Watch how immediately he gets up there, snaps it before the defense can get up there and get any linebacker, get any kind of pursuit at the line of scrimmage.
A lot of youth in the middle of that line for Indiana. Will Maddie, a sophomore, flanked by a redshirt freshman and another sophomore on the interior of the line. 1st and 10 for the Hoosiers. 12th play of this long drive. And a breakout run. Nobody even lays a finger on Darius Willis, who goes in for the touchdown. That's a 99-yard touchdown drive for Indiana.
Look at the extra lineman. This right here is not a tight end. That is another additional offensive tackle. So you bring in some more size. We're able to establish the line of scrimmage and create those types of holes that Darius Willis can take advantage of.
Over 5 minutes to go 99 yards after the bad exchange between the center and Denard Robinson. That's a 22-yard touchdown run for Willis. So Michigan looked like they were about to go up 21-7. Instead, the turnover, and 99 yards later, we're tied up. Hey, college football fans, it's time to put your college on the map. Build your own campus from scratch with ESPNU College Town. Find your school, pick your buildings, and recruit players. You can even challenge your friends across the country to see whose program is #1. Go to BeTheDean.com right now to start playing. Maybe not right now, because you want to continue to watch this great game. Pam Ward along with Danny Cannell. Michigan and Indiana tied up at 14 apiece. Indiana just completing a 99-yard touchdown drive after Michigan had a fumble when they were about to bring the ball in. And boy, Willis, who just crushed this team last year with 154 yards and an 85-yard touchdown run, and the close win by Michigan, just took it in from 22 out. 7 carries for 54 yards for Willis. Stoneham gets the kickoff at the 1. And then runs head on into a Hoosier. Let's go back to the touchdown, Dan.
Well, Indiana's been running 5 wide receivers all day long, but check this out. They bring in a 6th offensive lineman, number 77, Josh Hager, bringing a little extra power game for the ground. And he does a great job with a kick-out block right there, which opens the hole for Darius Willis to take it to the house.
Hager weighing about 300 pounds, helping to clear the way, and we are tied up in the second quarter. Denard Robinson over 100 yards already on the ground. But the last drive did not end well. Hanging on to it all the way. And he is wrapped up. Raploga with a terrific tackle. That's only a 2-yard gain for Robinson. Let's get an update from Dari Noka. Very much. Good one going in the SEC. We have a good one here. The Big Ten opener for both teams, Indiana and Michigan, knotted up at 14 apiece. Robinson can't complete it. Kelvin Grady was closed in a hurry by Mitchell Evans, who has played a variety of positions in his career at Indiana.
And Indiana's crowd has responded to the 99-yard drive by the offense, really picking it up here. The sellout crowd trying to impose their will on this Michigan offense and trying to see if they can help stop Denard Robinson.
Robinson's first incomplete pass of the day. 3rd and 8, incomplete. Looking for Vincent Smith, but now Michigan's going to punt for the first time this afternoon. And the punter is Will Hagerup, a true freshman from the Milwaukee area, who is the brother of Chris Hagerup, a junior punter for Indiana. You see the last 4 plays. A fumble on the exchange center snap, and now a 3 and out.
He should be fresh.
Hagerup didn't punt at all last week. This is his first punt of this game. And it takes a Michigan roll down to the 31-yard line. That's a 45-yard punt for the younger Hagerup. So Indiana gets the ball with a chance to take the lead back. College football fans, don't miss the experts on ESPNU. 6 experts with unfiltered conversation about the hottest topics in college football. Catch it Tuesdays on ESPNU live at 1 Eastern with an encore presentation at 7 Eastern time. My colleague Danny Cannell stops by from time to time when it's a really expert panel.
That's right.
Got a couple of expert quarterbacks going in this game. Denard Robinson for Michigan and Ben Chappell. Don't forget about Ben Chappell, a terrific senior quarterback for Indiana.
Well, he said his right tackle, James Brewer, texted him some of these headlines. The one in Ben We Trust wanted to know if they were going to start to print money with his name on it, with his name and likeness on it.
Robinson continuing to make headlines. Chappell, a terrific story, graduated in June with a degree in accounting, a 3.7 grade point average, now going for a master's degree in accounting. And when we met him yesterday, he looked like an accountant. Came in, he had the glasses on, a very studious looking young man, and just does a lot of charity work in the area. Really a perfect student athlete here at Indiana for them.
He really is. Just one of a line of kids that we've come across this season that are just outstanding young men that are collegiate student athletes.
And the coaches talked about that, how what a joy it is to work with guys like this. Chappell under duress, unable to get that ball to Tandon Doss. In addition to being a terrific scholar athlete, Ben Chappell is a member of the All-State American in the AFCA Good Works team, which recognizes all the charity work that he has done in the area.
And not only Ben, but the entire Indiana team is heavily involved with the Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, and also the Boys and Girls Club locally.
2nd and 10 for Chappell. He's got Willis next to him. Willis goes out into a pass pattern, and he finds him. Tries to spin away. Mouton and J.T. Floyd in on the tackle, but he picks up 9, just short of another first down.
And one of the things about Ben, he's just such a good decision maker. And one of the things he acknowledges, hey, all I have to do is get the ball in the right guy's hands, and he does an exceptional job of doing that.
Has the top 2 receivers in the Big Ten, and Belcher, Terrence Turner, Tandon Doss, also very talented out there. And a first down, Chappell hangs onto it. They are 6 for 8 on 3rd down conversions today.
And Ben Chappell's a big kid too. He's pretty big. Looks like he might have had a little stinger there on the QB sneak to pick up the first down, but I'm sure he'll take it in this situation. But at 242 pounds, he is a big quarterback, but it doesn't matter. You're being outweighed by about 60 pounds by Michigan's defensive line.
9 more passes now from Chappell than runs for what has been a very pass-heavy Hoosier team this season. Both teams on the field unbeaten. Chappell this time slings it out to the left and completes it. Nice move by Turner to cut inside and get some extra yardage. Obieze with the stop, but it's an 8-yard gain.
Chappell still holding his neck, kind of rubbing his shoulder area. It's obviously affected him, but he's able to get it outside, still with the effective throw. Doss just catches the quick pass, and when he breaks it back inside, he's on his own. That's always what a wide receiver coach should tell you. If you take it back inside, you're on your own.
So now 2nd and 2. Willis with the carry, picks up the first down into Michigan territory. Mouton makes another stop, but this Indiana offense continues to move the ball well.
And it really feels like Matt Canada, the play caller for Indiana, has a pretty good rhythm going right now and where he wants to go with the football, mixing the run and pass. And look at the time of possession, 16 minutes Indiana's had the football.
And they've also now run 26 more plays than Michigan. Willis stopped that time in his tracks by Mouton, actually lost a yard. Mouton with 6 tackles so far. Sorry, Danny.
Really, that's a pretty good game plan against Michigan. If Denard's going to be on the field, it's just bad things are going to happen for your defense. So try to keep him off the field. Limit the amount of touches he gets with the football by creating these drives. You had the 99-yard drive. They've looked solid here so far. Continue to keep your defense off the field.
They have 14 first downs as well. 5 minutes and 46 seconds and 5 minutes and 20 seconds they've eaten up on their 2 touchdown drives. 2nd down, Chappell throws it over the middle, has his receiver. That's the tight end, Ted Bolser, who bobbled it and was able to bring it in, even though Gordon hit him.
Unbelievable catch by the freshman tight end. Straight up the middle of the field, and what concentration. The ball is bobbling. He gets popped right in the mouth and still hangs on.
Great catch by the redshirt freshman from Cincinnati. Bolser 6'6", 250 pounds. Caught a touchdown in his first career catch. And now 5 receivers in. First down from the 21. Chappell completes it on the slant. Pick up about 5 or 6 yards to Belcher this time. Does a terrific job, too, of spreading the ball around.
He really does, and they talked about Bolser being an addition. Look, they're going to spread the field all the way. There's a ton of guys to that side of the field. What that does is it creates one-on-one matchups on the backside, and Ben Chappell's going to take advantage of that all day long.
Belcher averaging 7 catches per game, leading the Big Ten in that category. Chappell this time into the end zone, has a man, he underthrew it, and Cameron picked him off right at the goal line. The turnover gives the ball back to the Wolverines. And that is Chappell's first interception since last season. And what a big one it is.
Well, he had his guy in the corner route in the back of the end zone, maybe just forced it and underthrew it just a hair. And I think that's one of the things Chappell will have to work on, is throwing on the move, getting outside of the pocket. Just came up a little bit short on it. When you're rolling to your right, you've got to get your shoulders, you've got to be fundamentally sound to make sure you get every ounce of force behind the football.
So the interception gives the ball back to Michigan at the 19. Both teams have coughed up the ball deep in enemy territory. There's a carry for Vincent Smith. Here's an update from Dari Noka. Thank you, Dari. Like this game, 2 unbeatens meeting up in Lansing. Martavius Odoms, as Michigan quickly snapped the ball, caught a 13-yard pass from Robinson for the first down.
Michigan now picking up the pace a little bit on offense, trying to get up to the line of scrimmage, get a play called quick.
Robinson hanging on to it. Gets a couple of good blocks and then uses his ability to get it up to midfield, and a Wolverine first down.
And that was the same play we drew up the open, just a quarterback sweep to the left. He let his running back to the left of him be his lead blocker, and he's just so explosive. When he sees a lane, he hits it so fast.
In case you're just joining us, Robinson's first carry of the day, a 72-yard touchdown run. He also has thrown a touchdown pass in this game. Throws that one low. Good catch by Roundtree to bring it in off the shoe tops for a 7-yard gain. So we mentioned a couple of key plays, bad turnovers.
Well, Denard had the trouble with the snap. Really looked like they were going to go in to score and take a 21-7 lead, and Indiana really fed off of that one. And then, of course, Ben Chappell in the last possession with the underthrow, picked off by Cameron Gordon.
Another Michigan first down. Vincent Smith keeping it on the ground. Picks up 5 yards. Michael Shaw not available today. Sprained his knee last week against Bowling Green. So Smith is the #1 running back today. Well, really, Robinson's the #1 running back. That goes without saying. The quarterback continuing to tear it up. Has another 100-yard game. 119 yards and just 6 carries today. Robinson holds on to it again, cuts it inside, and he is tackled at the 10-yard line. A touchdown-saving stop by Leon Beckham, a former walk-on from right here in Bloomington. 28 more yards for Denard.
Just a simple quarterback sweep, catches a couple good blocks by the guys in front, and then you have got to get him down. He sheds 2 or 3 tacklers and picks up those extra yards. And if he would have cut it back to the middle of the field, he might have had a touchdown.
He's not used to being tackled from behind,
That's
probably
right.
on any level. So 1st and goal from just inside the 10. Robinson on this drive with 41 yards on the ground, 21 through the air. 2nd in the nation in total offense behind Ryan Mallett. And a timeout is taken by Michigan. Just over 4 minutes left to go. And the last time they got this close to the goal line, they had the fumbled exchange and came up empty. ESPNU's coverage of college football continues tonight at 7 Eastern time as Georgia Tech takes on Wake Forest. Follow that at 10:30 Eastern, South Carolina State and Florida A&M. College football prime time presented by 5 Hour Energy on ESPNU, part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. Go to ESPNU.com for any and all information. Denard Robinson going over there to talk. There's Rich Rodriguez right in the middle of it. And here's Denard today.
He's been stellar. I mean, pretty much every time he's touched the ball, something special has happened. And when you get an offensive mind like Rich Rodriguez calling plays with a quarterback like Denard Robinson, it's a pretty lethal combination. And aside from the the fumble on the sideline and the series after that, where Indiana kind of had some fire underneath them and were able to stop them, Denard has been pretty unstoppable the rest of the afternoon.
Michigan coming into today's game 4-0 on the season. Last week against Bowling Green, they won 65-21. A lot of Big Ten teams scored tons of points last week. Michigan had 721 total yards in that game, 466 rush yards. And remember, this young man, Mr. Robinson, left the game in the first quarter with a bruised knee. The backup quarterbacks, Devin Gardner and Tate Forcier, were spectacular as well. After the timeout, here's your 1st and goal from just inside the 10. Handoff. Vincent Smith. Nope. Robinson hanging on to it. Good fake.
Well, that's the thing. He runs like a running back, too. It's hard to tell the difference. He's so quick coming out of the backfield. He really looks like a running back. And what he does so well is he hangs on to that fake for so long while he's reading the defensive end. The end looked like he didn't know where the football was either.
Neither did I.
Darius Johnson's just in an absolute bind there, deciding, okay, do I take Denard or do I take the back?
Denard picked up about 5. 2nd and goal. Robinson keeps it and goes down on the 8th play of the drive around the 3. Rapogel and Nary Black. Black has a brother who is a backup defensive end on the other sideline from Michigan. So here's a 3rd and goal, Dan.
And he picks up a great block from his tight end here. If he would have followed him, he might have scored with a walk-in touchdown, but instead he tried to cut it back to the left. Gets swarmed by the Indiana's defense.
Good job by Black, freshman All-American last year, now a sophomore. The crowd, a sold-out crowd here in Bloomington. Wanting a stop on 3rd and goal. Robinson to throw, has a wide-open target. Easy touchdown for Kevin Kroger, the tight end. And Michigan retakes the lead.
Well, that's the thing. When you've got a quarterback like Denard Robinson, you can get a lot of easy touchdowns because the defense has so much to think about. I mean, you're thinking about the back coming out of the backfield, the receivers, Denard himself. And that time he does the play action, is able to dump it to his tight end for a wide open, easy one.
Brookhuizen adding the extra point. Denard Robinson leading another touchdown drive for the Wolverines. A couple of unbeaten teams, but right now Denard Robinson's team up by a touchdown. Welcome back, Michigan, just taking a 21-14 lead over Indiana on this touchdown play.
Well, we've been talking about the tight end leading upside into the block for Denard. Watch this time, though. He doesn't go inside. He goes outside, slips out into the flat. The defense obviously has seen him block several times. That's how he gets lost. They're not expecting him to slip out in the flat, and that's why it's such an easy, wide-open touchdown for Denard.
Coger's first touchdown catch of the season. And now over 300 yards of total offense for Denard Robinson. 153 yards on the ground, 152 yards through the air, a rushing touchdown and 2 touchdown passes. Gotta be #1 on Danny Kanell's Heisman list, right?
Absolutely.
Nick Turner picks up the bouncing ball. They kick away from Tandon Doss, who's so dangerous. Turner goes all the way across the field. That's a 17-yard return for Turner. Ben Chappell had not thrown an interception since last season. 136 straight attempts, and this one particularly crushing because he threw the interception right at the goal line.
Yeah, the red zone interception, those are what kills drives, and it drives offensive coordinators nuts. And it's really, he's one of only 4 guys that haven't thrown an interception this season. But unfortunately, that streak came to an end.
One of the 4 starting quarterbacks with enough attempts, and now he's got his first pick of the season. 4 wide receivers start out here, 3 to the left of Chappell. Instead, he hands it off to Willis, and he is taken down immediately by the disruptor. Mike Martin drops him for a 3-yard loss.
When you run a 3-3-5, you've got to have a disruptive force, like you said, Pam, a guy that can handle blocks. He's going to get double teamed a lot. He comes right from the middle, and he just sheds offensive linemen, gets around him. I mean, you don't see that type of quickness out of 6'2", 300 pounds all the time.
Made it look easy. Now Chappell gives it to Willis through the air this time. Multi-talented running back gets it up about a yard short of the first down. Jordan Kovacs makes the stop. Kovacs has 6 tackles. Boy, here's a great story. A kid who tried out, went to an open tryout at Michigan. In 2008, Coach Rodriguez said, come back next year. He came back, walked on, and now he's a starter.
Love stories like that. It's almost like they have their own version of Rudy out there, Jordan Kovacs.
And he's the leading tackler on this team. Terrific story, and he's only a sophomore out of the state of Ohio. 3rd and 1. Chappell throwing on 3rd and 1. Short pass to Belcher for the first down.
And that's what you can do with a 5th-year starting quarterback. You have a lot of confidence in him. 3rd and 1. A lot of people think you're going to run hammer it in there. Just a 5-yard hitch route, just like an individual drill at practice all day long. I'd take Ben Chappell on that.
They snap it quickly. Chappell is hit just as he threw the ball, but it's completed across the field for another Hoosier first down. All the way down to the 39-yard line is Belcher, the Big Ten's leading receiver.
Well, of all the adjectives we've used aside Ben Chappell so far today, I don't think we've mentioned toughness, but watch how he hangs in the pocket, delivers a solid throw. Those are one of those things you don't even see it come out, and yet it's still on a dime across the entire field. Thomas Gordon with a big hit on Ben Chappell.
Chappell's numbers approaching another 200-yard day. He averages 297 yards per game through the air. That is tops in the Big Ten. 3-man rush this time. Good coverage by Michigan. Chappell throws it well away.
And right now he's on pace to throw it 60 times in this game. I mean, hey, if you're a quarterback, you love it. Put it in the air, but he's got a lot of weapons to work with, and so far it's been what's working for this Indiana offense.
Threw the ball 98 times in their first 3 games against Towson, Western Kentucky, and Akron, teams that were an aggregate 1-11 going into action today. And there's Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator, on the field for Michigan. Under a minute to go. Indiana still with 3 timeouts remaining. Chappell hit again, and he throws it on a dime to Tandon Doss. Doss beat Cameron Gordon and is taken down at the 15-yard line.
Ben Chappell throws the corner route better than any quarterback I've seen so far this year. They love to move it down the field. You get one-on-one matchups, and he delivers it on a dime, and Tandon Doss is able to get out of bounds and stop the clock.
Doss, a good-looking junior receiver at 6'3", 200, picked up 24 yards on that play. Third trip in the red zone for Indiana. They have a touchdown and the turnover last time they were down here when Chappell threw the interception. Out of the pistol. Chappell over the middle on the slant. It's caught by Doss, who fights his way down to the 2. First and goal, Indiana.
Great job by Ben Chappell. He's got a sluggo called on the outside, which he passes up on and just finds Tandon Doss, beats the defense with timing. So many times, if you deliver the ball on time and you can anticipate a guy being open, there's no defense that can stop that.
30 seconds and counting left to go in the half. Willis stands behind Chappell. He gets the ball, cuts inside, slipped a tackle, gets close to the goal line, and is stopped short. They need to take a timeout, and they do. So Willis picks up a couple of yards and is stopped about a yard short.
Bam, I got a little carried away there with my football-ese, I guess. When Ben had the ball right there, they had a play called where they run an X slant and go. That's what a sluggo route is. You can see him here. He looks to the right side of the field, just very quick pump fake, but it wasn't there. Michigan was having no part of it, and yet he pulled it down. A lot of young quarterbacks might say, all right, the slant and go is called. I'm going to force it in there. But Ben wisely took it down, took what the defense gave to him, and was able to drive it down to the 1-yard line.
Another long drive. This one, however, fairly quick, 2.5 minutes to go, 71 yards.
And they've talked about the ability to run a little more up-tempo, no huddle. And, you know, when you look at the 2-minute drill run by Indiana, Ben Chappell looks very comfortable, as well as the receivers do. When they catch the football like Tandon Doss did earlier, he got out of bounds. A lot of things that are just, it shows they're well coached out there running the 2-minute drill.
Bill Lynch, a big veteran head coach, now in his 4th year here at Indiana, but 18th overall. They still have 2 timeouts left, so you can run here if you want to. You still have time with 9 seconds left to take a timeout. Let's see what Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, has dialed up for Indiana. Doss in motion. They hand it to Willis. Willis is met at the goal line and driven back. Another timeout taken with only 4 seconds left to go in the half. Now what do you do, Danny? Have to throw here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, 4 seconds is tight for running a play. I mean, you'll probably end up running the clock out, so you've got to put it in the air or score a touchdown. If you're on the ground, you've got to score. You've got no choice there, but a great stop by Michigan, filling the hole. Kenny Demmons coming in there and filling the spot, meeting the run right in the hole and driving him back for a 2-yard loss.
With 4 seconds left, any thought maybe of going for a field goal right now, or you go for the 6, Danny?
Well, it's a tough game. I mean, I think in this game you're facing Michigan, who's probably going to score every time. I mean, I like the tight end, Ted Bolzer. He's been the added weapon on their team this year. He's caught 4 touchdowns on the year, had 2 last week. He's Ben's favorite target on the corner route we talked a lot about. But the thing is, I mean, you're running a huge risk here. You've got to score a touchdown. But I like the play call. I like keeping your team on the field and going for it.
Chappell leads the offense out. Now a timeout. By Michigan.
And I think that's the thing they've got to take into consideration too, is when the second half starts, Michigan has the football. And so far they haven't had too much success like everybody else in the country. It's not a knock against Indiana's defense. They have not been able to stop Denard Robinson. So I can understand why they want to put 7 points on the board.
Michigan averaging over 41 points a game, just like Indiana. So Greg Robinson huddles up with his defense. Indiana came out with 4 wide receivers. Obviously Michigan saw that, call a timeout.
A little bit of the chess match going on right here between the coordinators, trying to force each other's hand, trying to get a look at the defense, see what they're going to show you.
Indiana 3 for 3 so far on 3rd and 2 or fewer. And 5 receivers now out. So now 5 receivers out there for Indiana.
As opposed to 4 the last time. You see there.
Before the timeout, back to live action. They have trips left and another receiver out there as well. Chappell, little pump fake, goes in the right corner of the end zone. What a catch! DeMarlo Belcher extends for the touchdown on the last play of the half.
Two incredible efforts there by Indiana's offense. Unbelievable job by Ben Chappell buying just enough time. He drifts a little bit to the right. He knows the pressure's coming, delivers a perfectly thrown ball to the outside where DeMarlo Belcher can drift away from the defense and dive and get it where nobody else can. What an incredible play.
Ewald in for the extra point to tie this game up at 21. So again, they bunch all the receivers on the left side. They went the opposite way, and Belcher with a spectacular catch to tie this game up at halftime. The two teams have combined for 42 points and 633 yards. Robinson, 305 yards all by himself. So far, we expected a shootout. We got one at 21 all.
If you like offense, stick around. This second half could get real interesting.
So Indiana, on the last play of the half, ties it up on the touchdown pass to Belcher. We're tied up at 21. Time for the ESPNU halftime report and Dari Noka.
Thank you, Hoosiers, for building with us.
Ellis Tents is the official IU athletic provider for tents and tailgates outside Memorial Stadium. For more information, visit
You might expect in a 21-21 game, there's a lot of offense going on, over 600 yards between the two teams, but look at the time of possession.
It's unbelievable to me that Indiana has controlled the ball this much. And I mean, you're watching this game and you'd think we're watching Houston play, I mean, you know, just some absolutely aired out offense against another one. We're talking about Michigan, one of the most storied teams in all of the history of college football, putting up these types of numbers.
Oh, things have changed now with Coach Rich Rodriguez. Michigan gets the ball first. Stoneham decides to take it out of the end zone. And he takes it up to the 28-yard line.
The thing about it could be 28-28. Denard Robinson going in to score, had trouble with the quarterback-center exchange, drops it on the ground. Indiana responded with a 99-yard touchdown drive. Later, Ben Chappell underthrows a wide open receiver in the end zone, and Michigan's able to come up with a turnover, and they respond as well.
That was the first interception thrown since last season by Chappell, went 136 passes between picks. And Denard Robinson continues to be the big difference maker for Michigan. Hands it off to Vincent Smith. He's bottled up after about a 2-yard gain.
Well, Denard was already on pace where he would win the Heisman if there was a vote tomorrow, and he's only doubled his numbers pretty much. So I'd say he's on a he's making an interesting campaign. The sophomore trend could continue.
Averaging over 172 yards a game on the ground. That is #1 in the country. He had 153 yards on the ground in the first 2 quarters. First throw of the second half is completed to junior Hemingway, and Hemingway breaks free. Nobody catches him. Hemingway with a huge catch and run, a 70-yard score for Michigan.
Well, Denard Robinson isn't the only outstanding athlete on Michigan's offense. Matt Ernest has the lonely job of having to cover Roy Roundtree on the outside, Junior Hemingway, and making the open field tackle, which he misses, which allows Hemingway to take it to the house.
Hemingway's first touchdown catch of the season. Brookhuizen adds the extra point. Michigan strikes quickly with its first possession of the second half, just like they did with their first possession of the game. Robinson with a touchdown pass, 70 yards for the score. Junior Hemingway outraces them all.
This is Tailgate Week. This is Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal.
Welcome back to Bloomington. Turned out to be a gloomy start, but now the sun is breaking through. A lot of folks, out there doing some tailgating, Danny Cannell.
It's making me hungry.
Wow, Michigan.
Can we send somebody out to run that up to us?
Michigan and Indiana running up the score, 28-21. Michigan just had its longest pass play of the season, a 70-yard touchdown catch. Denard Robinson hitting Junior Hemingway. Robinson now accounting for 375 yards of offense and 4 touchdowns, 3 through the air, and the big 72-yard run to start the game for Michigan.
And really showcasing the added dimension that he brought to his game this year with the passing aspect. 8 for 10 for 222 yards and 3 touchdowns.
They're keeping the ball away from Doss, at least skipping it to him this time. He's a very dangerous return man. And he is tackled down short of the 25-yard line, only an 11-yard return for Doss. Floyd Simmons made the special team stop. He has 3 of them for Michigan. And there you go, a new career-long 70. I mean, they need not just a new record book for this guy, maybe a record encyclopedia of several volumes for the first-year full-time starter.
Now Indiana, right off the bat, has to answer them at this point. 28-21, you've got to score.
Chappell, their very talented quarterback. Play action, gets it to Doss, who's been his favorite target today, and Doss makes some folks miss. Gets it down to the 39-yard line. They pick up 15 and a first down.
And Doss gets some great help from his guys out in the field. When you get it to him, look at the great job of the downfield blocking. Both guys have a hat on a hat, blocking down the field, allowing Tandon Doss to pick up some positive yardage.
His 7th catch of the day puts him over 100 yards, or right at 100 yards for this game. Chappell again to Doss, 2 in a row. 2 first downs in a row. Thomas Gordon makes the stop.
And it's interesting, the dynamic, the difference between these two offenses. You see Michigan go out there, 2 plays, they score. Indiana's got to drive the length of the field. They chip away at you, have a 10-yard gain, a 5-yard gain. Takes a little bit longer.
But the results have been the same. Both teams with scores. Terrence Turner's turn to get the Chappell pass. He picks up 7.
The only thing that concerns me with that, the more plays you run, the more chance there is something bad can happen. And I think Indiana's doing an excellent job. Apart from the 1 interception by Ben Chappell early, they've been pretty flawless, but you've got to wonder, the more plays they run, there's a good chance they're going to, spit it on the ground or turn it over.
Indiana #1 in the Big Ten in passing offense. Michigan last in the Big Ten in passing defense. Willis gets away from one would-be tackler and is finally ridden out of bounds. J.T. Floyd among the Wolverines who take him out. Only picked up about a yard. So about a 3rd and 2 coming up for Indiana.
And really, Indiana's run game is more of a, hey, I'm going to keep you honest to make sure you're respecting the run, but predominantly their offense is going to come through the air.
And they are 8 for 10 on 3rd downs in this game. Doss comes across and gets the handoff, but terrific pursuit. Michigan did a great job of stringing it out. Thomas Gordon, number 15 in particular, also number 18, James Rogers. They don't pick up anything. What do you think of that call?
Well, I think they're trying to get the edge, and I don't think they quite have the speed to get it there. And Michigan does a great job of staying home, getting outside. Thomas Gordon chasing down the play. And here's a decision that they have to make. Coach Lynch thought about it and said, hey, we're going to punt it away. At this point, I almost feel like you have to have the mindset like you did before half. Go for the points, keep the drives going. You're going to have to match them.
But instead, they've decided to punt. Chris Hagerup's 3rd punt. Fair catch. Gallen bobbled it, but was able to come up with it at the 13-yard line. 29-yard punt. Pretty well placed, though, by Hagerup. When we come back, oh, it's definitely in the game. EA Sports version of Denard Robinson being really good. Denard Robinson about to take Michigan back out onto the field with his team up by 7.
Well, Denard, we talked about the 4 different aspects of his game, and today he's really taking advantage of the passing game. The linebackers are in such a bind. They have to respect the run fake as well as the safety, but when they do, they suck up towards the line of scrimmage, and that allows the middle of the field to go wide open. With you have the speed at receiver as Michigan does, Denard Robinson can take advantage of those wide open spaces.
And that is from EA Sports. Denard Robinson, this season, Take a look at the numbers today as well. Today he was responsible for 375 of Michigan's 395 yards.
And we're only 11 minutes into the third quarter.
Here we go. 3 touchdown passes, 1 huge touchdown run. It was a 72-yarder on the second play from scrimmage for Michigan in the first quarter. Hanging on to it again. Tackle down at the 22-yard line by Darius Johnson, but 8 more yards for the nation's leading rusher.
In Indiana, they did their best to prepare for Denard Robinson. They said they worked on extra tackling drills. They spent an extra 20 minutes than they normally do.
And Robinson is down. Bruised his knee last week in the huge win over Bowling Green in the first quarter. And now he's down.
And this is something that Michigan has seen quite a few times. Earlier in the year, he had to come out for a play or two in his first 2 games. Last week, missed the entire game after coming out. Here he is coming down hard on his left knee. Kind of looked like he was favoring that when the medical staff was checking him out.
And that's the knee that was bruised last week on that tackle.
And when you get one of those deep bruises, in your legs and your quadriceps and your knee, they take a long time to heal. People don't realize they're still, at the slightest touch, it's going to be tough.
And one thing about Robinson as Tate Forcier comes in, he is not a big guy. Maybe 6 feet, definitely under 200 pounds. And you have to wonder about his durability with all the hits he takes.
Well, the luxury that Rich Rodriguez has is when Denard goes down, you come in with Tate Forcier, who's got a lot of playing experience, and he played excellent last week.
In fact, 12 for 12 last week in that win against Bowling Green. He was the starter in the Michigan win against Indiana last year. Vincent Smith, say hello to Darius Johnson and his many friends in red, including Donnell Jones.
Donnell Jones was one guy they moved from the secondary, moved him up to the line of scrimmage. They wanted more speed around the football. You see Indiana doing a good job corralling the ball carrier, and you've got to feel like they feed off the fact that Denard is out of the game.
3rd and a long 1 now for Michigan with Robinson on the sidelines. This is only their 4th third down attempt of the game, 2 for 3 so far. Forcier slings it out. Great open field tackle. Lanyata Kyles, the JUCO from LA, one of those starters they put in today because of his speed, got the tackle.
Earlier, said guys with a little more open space to work with. Indiana played a little softer. I like the way they got up towards the line of scrimmage, weren't going to give Michigan an easy first down, and a great job of tackling. We talked about the extra time they spent. The last 2 plays, they've done a much better job.
They got Roundtree, and now they're lining up to go for it on 4th and less than a yard. Look perhaps for the quick kick, and Forcier delivers. Not a very good one. Takes a Michigan roll just inside the 40. 38-yard punt with the roll for Forcier. ESPN News coverage of college football continues tonight, beginning at 7 Eastern as Georgia Tech takes on Wake Forest. Follow that at 10:30 Eastern, South Carolina State and Florida A&M. College football primetime presented by 5 Hour Energy on ESPNU, part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal.
Huge stop there for Indiana's defense, forcing the 3 and out from Michigan. You can't say enough about how important each stop is in this type of game.
Antonio Banks, true freshman out of Middletown, Ohio. First time we've seen him lining up in the pistol as the running back. Chappell throwing it up for Doss, who gets it. Tandon Doss all the way down to the 15-yard line. Another big play for the Hoosiers.
Well, Pam, earlier we talked about the sluggo, the X slant and go. That's what Ben Chappell throws here to Tandon Doss. James Rogers bit just enough Here you'll get a great look at the route. There's the fake slant, and then he gets to the outside, and a perfectly placed ball by Ben Chappell. That really was what made the difference. It was pretty good coverage by number 18, James Rogers.
46-yard gain. Doss with now 9 catches for 156 yards. And now the Wildcat right to Doss, who hangs on to it. And he's going to lose a yard. Second time, right, that we've seen them with that.
Pretty ineffective, but I really feel the reason they're doing it is just to give Michigan one more thing to think about on the sidelines. When they go over there, their coaches will have to coach them up on it. I like when they do this type of thing. When they go wide, spread out the field, create those spaces, those passing lanes for Ben Chappell.
5 receivers in for Chappell now on 2nd and 11. Another completion and a big hit on Kofi Hughes. Hughes picks up 5 yards, but Mouton was in there with a definitive stop.
Jonas Mouton, their leading tackler at linebacker position, does a great job coming from the middle. Kofi Hughes had no idea where he was coming from, the young freshman wide receiver. Actually did a pretty good job of just making sure he secured the football on that one.
Yeah, just to hang on to the ball was a victory for Mr. Hughes. Indiana, as you see, 8 for 11 on 3rd down. Here's a 3rd and 6. They have 4 receivers out there this time, and Willis is next to Chappell in the backfield. Trips left. Again, they go the other side to the right, and a completion. 1st and goal. DeMarlo Belcher brings it in.
Great job by Ben Chappell. Out of your screen on the left side, Ben Chappell's just going to run the quick out pattern. Just timing and perfectly placed ball are what got that 1st down.
3rd and 6, they picked up 7. 1st and goal, Indiana from the 4. Doss in motion. They give it to Willis right up the middle, to the goal line, to the end zone. Touchdown, Indiana.
Offensive coordinator Matt Canada said, we'll run it when they give it to us. They've been very effective with their timing and place where they call the running plays. Darius Willis with his 2nd touchdown on the day.
A 22-yarder, now a 4-yarder. Ewald to tie it up. Indiana, which has not beaten Michigan since 1987, battling toe for toe. 4th tie of the game. Willis takes it in. It's 28-all.
Yeah, they might just be giving them.
Bill Lynch's team has tied up Michigan at 28 apiece. Michigan nationally ranked, and this is very similar to last year's game in Ann Arbor. Michigan Like Indiana, unbeaten at the time. Rich Rodriguez's team was in the top 25. Indiana got this big 85-yard touchdown run by Darius Willis with just under 9 minutes to go in the game to go up 33-29. But then Tate Forcier finds Martavius Odoms to put Michigan on top. Indiana got the ball back, but Chappell threw this controversial interception. Michigan corner Donovan Warren appeared to have simultaneous possession with DeMarlo Belcher. Bill Lynch begged to differ, and Michigan wins again, 16 in a row over Indiana.
I found it very interesting talking to Indiana's players. We got to sit down with 5 of them, asked all of them, is there a sense of you want to get a little payback for that call? None of them took the bait. They refused to give us any bulletin board material, but you could tell there was a little gleam in their eye that they hadn't forgotten about last year's game.
Boy, so close in that game in Ann Arbor. Two teams that both finished 1-7 in the Big Ten. Stoneham gets the kickoff at the 5. Runs into some traffic and is eventually dragged down near the 30-yard line by Greg Heben. Let's go to Dari Noka, who has an update for us. Another Big Ten game, Dari. All right, thank you, Dari. Those two teams unbeaten. Indiana, last time they won a conference opener was against the Badgers in 01, and they have not beaten Michigan since 1987. Denard Robinson back in for Michigan, and he's got a man wide open, and he missed him. Junior Hemingway got behind everybody. That was 6 points waiting to happen.
They run so many wide receiver quick hitting screens where receivers block downfield for another receiver, and here they try it again. Indiana bites on it, which I would expect them to. They've seen it so many times. Hemingway is running wide open, and Denard, you got to wonder, he goes off the field for just a few plays a series, comes back a little bit rusty, but he missed an easy touchdown there.
Robinson limping off a few plays ago on the knee he bruised last week, the left one. Slant, nice hands grab by Roy Roundtree for the first down. Roundtree has caught a touchdown pass today and also another 74-yard pass play.
And that time, Denard Robinson just turned into a pocket quarterback, sat back in the pocket, surveyed the field, waited for a receiver to find an open lane, and delivered a perfect pass.
A couple of running backs in from Michigan. And there, breaking free is Vincent Smith. Smith, who got the start today, breaks a tackle and goes in for the Michigan score. Another long play, 56-yard touchdown.
Denard Robinson handing it off to Vincent Smith, finds a crease and sees a lot of green grass ahead of him. Donnell Jones doing his best to lay out and try to prevent it. But this Michigan team has so much speed across the board, it's tough for anybody to stop them.
Brookhuizen adds the extra point. Michigan's quick strike offense strikes again. 4 of their 5 touchdowns today have been at least 32 yards. That was 56. Welcome back to Bloomington, Indiana, in a game that is well on its way to maybe 50 points apiece for both teams. It's 35-28. Michigan, Denard Robinson back in there after missing a couple of plays, going out with after he got his left knee dinged up a little bit. But Vincent Smith starting today because Michael Shaw's out with a knee he sprained last week. Smith running at 56 yards for another go-ahead score.
So many times you see the prognosticators predict a high-scoring game, and then it ends up to be a low-scoring affair. But today, this game has lived up to every expectation.
Both teams averaging about 41.5 points per game, coming in unbeaten. Trying to keep the ball away from Tandon Doss. It's taken by one of the up men. 13-yard return back to the 39-yard line for Indiana.
Not a bad day for Denard Robinson and this Michigan offense. Second in the country, coming off a performance 720 yards last week. I think they're on pace to surpass that today. I mean, these type of numbers are staggering what they're able to do.
473 yards of offense for Michigan, 405 for Indiana. And we still have 6 minutes left to go in the third. Chappell rolling and somehow is able to thread the needle and get it into Tandon Doss. There is a penalty marker down near the line of scrimmage.
Well, they're going to tag on a little extra yardage to this one.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 55. The 15-yard penalty is tacked on to the end of the run. First down.
That is true freshman Jabril Black.
Here's the crossing route, and it's really a tight window for Ben Chappell to deliver that throw on the run. Earlier, he had the underthrow when he threw the interception in the red zone when he's on the run. Looks like he took care of what he needed to. He had the fundamentals right, got his shoulder square, and delivered a dime right in a tight space.
19 yards on the reception, add on another 15 yards after the penalty, 34-yard gain, gets it down to the 27 of Michigan. Willis, a little stutter step and then taken down. Obieze, nice tackle from behind. Let's get an update now from Dari Noka. Thank you, Dory. What a season for Russell Wilson, playing in the minor league system of the Colorado Rockies during the summer and coming in. And boy, NC State, Tom O'Brien really doing a terrific job so far this season with NC State in the ACC. Second down for Chappell, blitz coming, got rid of it just in the nick of time, but Nick Turner could not grab it.
Good job by Michigan pressuring Ben Chappell, but I like the way the senior quarterback gives a little ground, creates some space to find the throwing lane, but Jonas Mouton just abusing Nick Turner, the running back there, trying to pick him up.
Chappell's numbers. First interception of the season, threw that back in the first half. Leading the Big Ten in over 297 yards on average, and he is crushing that so far today.
Last week he set his career high at 366 yards. He's clearly on pace to break that.
5 receivers in on 3rd and 11. Only a 3-man rush, but Chappell can't find anybody to throw it to. Running is not his forte, and he throws it in the direction of Kofi Hughes.
Well, he said he likes number 4 because of Brett Favre, and he looked a little Favre-like on that one. He's just got to be a little careful with the football towards the end of the play. Michigan only 3 down linemen rushing the quarterback. That's why Ben Chappell's able to survey the field for so long. It's that little move right there at the end where he kind of flings it out of bounds that reminded me of the Brett Favre imitation.
How about going for it on 4th and 11 from the 28-yard line? We have a redshirt freshman kicker, Mitch Ewald, who has only hit from 32 yards out, so obviously well out of his range. They're going for it. Flag down, could be a hold against Indiana. Almost intercepted by J.T. Floyd. Flag thrown right in the middle of the line.
Personal foul, shot block. Number 66 on the offense. The penalty is declined. First down, Michigan.
Aaron Price, a redshirt freshman from right here in Bloomington. The ball goes over to Michigan.
And Michigan's 3-down defensive front, the last 2 plays, doing a good job getting pressure on Ben Chappell. Only bringing 3 guys, dropping 8. That's pretty tough duty on a quarterback when you don't have time to survey the field and you've got 8 defenders back there covering your wide receivers.
Enter Denard Robinson. Hands it off to Vincent Smith. Last time he touched the ball, he went 56 yards for a touchdown, only picked up 1 yard on that carry.
Here's a look at my Heisman favorites for the season, and those are in no particular order there.
Alphabetical order, I believe, right?
That's right. But I would say Denard Robinson is the clear-cut leader of this group. Mark Ingram's making his best case. He'll have a great opportunity tonight. Kellen Moore's having an outstanding year. Some great candidates.
Little pump fake and throwing into double coverage and over the head of the intended receiver, Daryl Stoneham. Robinson with a touchdown run today and also 3 touchdown passes.
Well, Michigan runs plays fast, and this time they're faced with a 3rd down and long. And the Indiana crowd is trying to pump up their defense and get a stop, because this is the type of game. Every 3 and out, every 3rd down, if you can step up to the plate and give it back to your offense, could make the difference in the outcome of the game.
Sold out for the first time since 2007. 4 receivers in, many of the crowd on their feet. Robinson running and stopped about a yard short of the first down. Tyler Replogle, the senior captain, teaming up with Jeff Thomas. And now Michigan looks over to the sideline. And they're going to bring their punt team out.
Well, Indiana's head coach, I love the way he said it, because we said, how are you going to stop Denard Robinson? He said, I'm going to contain, corral, and capture. They did a great job of capturing Denard Robinson before he got the first down.
The 3 C's. Here's Will Hagerup, the true freshman punter. Only the 2nd time he's had to punt away today. First one was a 45-yarder. Tandon Doss waits at his 20. Good kick. Doss retreats 10 yards and is taken down just short of the 20. 53-yard punt for Hagerup. Here's another update from Dari Noka. How do you figure that one out? UCLA with that incredible win on the road last week, and now Wazoo's giving it to them.
It's a crazy game of college football, a lot of parity, but that's what makes it so exciting.
Here we have Indiana trailing Michigan 35-28. Game that has seen 4 ties. Chappell again trying to catch up, but he's not going anywhere but down. Greg Banks with the first sack of the game.
Once again, 3 defensive linemen for Michigan able to get pressure. The right tackle, James Brewer, struggling with Greg Banks. He's able to get the sack on Ben Chappell, and it's tough. It's a tough job for a quarterback to try to throw the football when you're getting pressure and you've got 8 defenders defending the pass.
And now Banks is slow to get up. First sack of the day for Michigan on 43 pass attempts by Indiana.
They haven't been able to get to him because Ben Chappell is so effective of getting rid of the football. He throws it away, he finds his quick check down, and that time they finally do get to him. I think what Indiana's got to do is maybe slip in a few more running plays. They're only rushing 3 guys, they're dropping 8. That should open up a run, but a lot of times you get in these shootouts, kind of lose track of, hey, we've got to keep it on the ground. Earlier in the game, in the first half, they did an excellent job of just mixing it in every once in a while to keep them honest. I think they're going to have to go back to that.
They continue to look at Greg Banks. We invite you to join Lowell Galindo, David Pollack, and Tom Luganville for BCS Countdown. Get in-depth analysis of this week's games and a look ahead to Week 6. BCS Countdown presented by Discover, Monday at 6 Eastern on ESPNU and ESPNU HD. Lots to talk about every week, particularly this week. Huge game in the Pac-10 today and tonight. Oregon and Stanford. That's going to have huge BCS implications.
It'll have huge BCS implications, possibly Heisman implications with Andrew Luck, maybe one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Looking for the upset bid, and Stanford having an outstanding year.
And there you were just talking about it, Danny, the imbalance between rush and pass. Now plus 18 with pass attempts.
And that's no secret either. I mean, Matt Canada acknowledged it openly, said, hey, we're better at passing the football, but there just comes a point when you've got to try to sneak it in there every once in a while.
Boy, 2nd and 21 after the sack. Indiana hanging on to the ball for more than twice as much time as Michigan. But the only stat that matters is the score. We heard that from the Indiana coaches yesterday, and it's +7 for Michigan. Chappell, short completion, short gain to Darius Willis. Mutson on his way to a double-digit tackle day. Makes the stop after a 5-yard gain.
I love what offensive coordinator Matt Canada said when he's at the house at night. He said his kids, his daughter Tori, she's 12, and his son Chris is 10. They're giving him a little advice on the offense. They want to see it. Tori wants to see the deep balls, and Chris wants to see the running game. So we'll be interested to see who wins out today. I think she might be in there sneaking in some play calls today.
That's what he says. He goes home and he has meetings at home too when he's finished with his football meetings on campus. 3rd and 16 for Chappell. Another 3-man rush. And Chappell with that strong arm completes it to Belcher for the first down. Rodgers on the coverage, but they got 19 yards.
Well, I asked Ben Chappell what he thought about the NFL, and right here you're going to see an NFL-type throw from his to the far side of the field. Delivers an outstanding throw. Not the tightest of coverage, but that is a ball the NFL scouts are going to want him to see him throw at the combine.
Has good size, certainly has the arm for it. Another completion out to Belcher. JT Floyd pushes him out of bounds. That's another first down for Indiana.
Indiana picking up the pace and giving Ben Chappell the freedom at the line of scrimmage to say, hey, if you see an open guy, pop it to him. That's exactly what he did right there.
Trey Burgess now in at the running back slot, the 3rd running back we have seen back there for Indiana. Burgess usually the short yardage guy. In there on first down. He gets it and gets about 3 yards. Jordan Kovacs makes the stop for Michigan.
And there's a case, Pam, where it's just a running play. It didn't look fancy. There's nothing sexy about it, but you keep Michigan offense. I like just the numbers game. You saw the percentage was so lopsided toward the passing game. And I like the way they're just reminding Michigan that they have the capabilities to put it on the ground.
That's Danny Cannell. I'm Pam Ward as we hit the top of the hour. Indiana now trailing Michigan 35-28. Denard Robinson well over 100 yards on the ground again. Has a rushing touchdown and 3 touchdown passes, but Indiana going toe-to-toe with their potent passing attack. Led by Ben Chappell, that one just off the fingertips of Tandon Doss. For the 2nd straight week, Ben Chappell has set a new career high in passing yards. Set it last week in the win over Akron, and now a new one at 379 yards here in the 3rd quarter against Michigan.
This young man is a cerebral quarterback. Everyone we talked to described him as smart, as a leader, as the type of kid you want leading your offense, and he's thoroughly impressed me this afternoon.
Shaking his head as he looks over. They signal all of the plays in from the sideline. 4 receivers in for Chappell on 3rd and 7. Rush coming, he gets belted, but somehow throws it, and Tandon Doss with another great catch gets the first down.
Well, he's got a lot of weapons, and when he finds the right guy and delivers a ball like that, they're going to have a lot of success. You can see why they're one of the top passing units in the Big Ten.
For the 2nd straight season, Tandon Doss is having a great game against Michigan. The offensive shootout we expected. Michigan leads at 35-28 as we head to the 4th quarter. The Hoosiers are driving. College football coming your way next Saturday. Lots of great games starting at noon Eastern. Capping off with Eastern Michigan at Vanderbilt. Check it out on ESPNU. Going to be tough to top this game. Here's our game summary as we hit the fourth quarter. Michigan leading Indiana, both teams unbeaten 35-28. Another huge day for Denard Robinson, the nation's leading rusher, second in the country in total yards, but well over that today with 404. And Ben Chappell and company trying to come and tie this game up for the 5th time.
These are video game type numbers. I mean, that's because when I'm playing, that's all I do is toss it.
Yeah, our friends at EA Sports might just want to copy this game because this is perfect. First play of the fourth quarter. Chappell has a wide open Tandon Doss, who has dozen catches today. Doss down to the 30. Let's go down to Dari Noko with an update. Couple of unbeatens there, a couple of unbeatens here, and Tandon Doss, who just made the catch, is down on the field having his right leg looked at.
Catches a route out in the flat, trying to break a few tacklers. And I really feel his leg right there goes straight. That's one of those cramps. So they're going to get them. They're doing the cramp stretch when they pull his toe back. There is no worse feeling. You're just helpless out there when you have a cramp. Trying to massage it out.
Doss having an incredible day, Danny.
You can understand why he's a little gassed right now. 12 catches, 197 yards. The only thing he hasn't done is score a touchdown, but there's still a quarter left, so he's still got time for that.
His 4th career 100-yard game. The last one came against Michigan last year when he caught 104 yards worth of passes. Well over that this afternoon. Chappell now over 400 yards through the air at 401. Building on a new career high for a single game. Toss out of the backfield. The Willis well snuffed out by J.T. Floyd.
Well, J.T. Floyd has seen it a few times now, seen that quick hitting screen pass to the wide receiver. Didn't fool him at all, and he's able to jump on it for his 7th tackle of the game.
Lost a yard on that play. There's Chappell's numbers. 50 times he's put it up. A couple of touchdowns and an interception, his first pick of the season, actually. Back in the first half. 2nd and 11, out of the pistol. Chappell has to run. That's Mike Martin. Oh, and the big guy at 6'2", 300, rode Chappell all the way back into Indiana territory.
Usually when you talk about flipping the field, you're talking about a punter. You're not really talking about a nose guard, and Mike Martin just manhandles Will Maddie. Is able to get to Ben Chappell, who knows he has to throw the football away, just can't find anywhere to go with it. Mike Martin did a great job of kicking Indiana out of field goal range.
And I tell you what, that's a good spot for Indiana. They're going to actually, they blew the whistle down around the 48-yard line of Michigan. So they only lost 15 yards on that play. Could have been a whole lot worse, but boy, Mike Martin, what a play by the nose guard. Chappell with time, plenty of time to find his receiver, DeWeese Wilson. Wilson caught a touchdown pass back in the first quarter, picked up 11 on that play.
And Indiana's staying on their offense is staying on the field right now.
Which means that Denard Robinson is not on the field.
Exactly.
Much to the delight of Indiana fans everywhere and the Indiana defense. Sold out crowd starting to cheer loudly again. Chappell to pass again, runs out and is taken down near the line of scrimmage. Jabril Black, credit him with the tackle. Timeout, Indiana, trailing Michigan 35-28.
You're watching ESPN, new home of the Bowl Championship Series. You're watching ESPN, new home of the Bowl Championship Series.
Welcome back. Tailgate week fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. A lot of charcoal being fired up around Memorial Stadium, known as The Rock to the people here in Bloomington, Indiana. Indiana going for it on a 4th down right before the break. Sort of no man's land there, Danny. Do you think it was a good decision?
Absolutely, you nailed it on the head. They just were in a position where it's too long of a field goal. You risk getting it blocked. You give it back to them in outstanding field position. I like the call to go for it, but Denard Robinson, it's extremely dangerous. You give him the football, and something bad is going to happen. Depends on your point of view.
Right. Unless you're a Michigan fan, it's bad. 3 touchdown passes, so 1/3 of the passes he's completed have gone for touchdowns today. He also has run for a score. 1st down for Michigan at the 30. Good fake. Robinson hangs onto it and gets a 1st down. Kyles had to make the stop. Robinson continues to show that talent.
One of the things about the spread, the best thing about it, in my opinion, is in the name, the spread offense. You spread out the field, you create a lot of running lanes, passing lanes, you put the defense in a lot of binds, and we've got a quarterback like Denard who can read it out. It's almost impossible to stop.
12 rushes for 180 yards. Smith bottled up by Leon Beckham. Maybe a yard on that play.
And this is Rich Rodriguez's 3rd year in the system, and a lot of people say, you know, it's about how much time it takes for people to become comfortable in a system. And he even talked to us about now where Denard is comfortable, the offensive line is comfortable making adjustments mid-game, and you can see the effect that it has on their production.
Robinson hanging on to it. Good job. Darius Johnson leading the charge. Ball comes out late, but the play had already been whistled dead. The offense clicking.
And since he went out of the game, he's been back in. He's missed a couple passes. Vincent Smith obviously had the big run. Denard's been a little bit quiet. You got to wonder if it's in his head, if he's a little slower, that he's got the bruise or the issue with his leg, but has not been the same.
Michigan just 2 of 5 on 3rd downs. Here's a 3rd and 5 and a timeout taken by Michigan. We'll take this time to take a timeout. Rich Rodriguez not happy. Dari Noka probably has some good news for us. Dari? Wow, Dari, tough place to play at LSU. Rich Rodriguez coming out to talk to his quarterback. 721 yards in last week's 65-21 pasting of Bowling Green. Almost 500 yards so far today against Indiana for this offense.
Another stellar performance, and Denard Robinson has been running it almost flawlessly, but Rich Rodriguez, you saw him at the timeout coming out to Denard Robinson, and it was one of those situations where It looked like they had a play call that would work, and for whatever reason, Denard Robinson didn't see it, couldn't see it developing, called a timeout. Rich Rodriguez clearly not happy with them having to burn one there. You could almost see him talking, teaching his quarterback, saying, hey, why did you call a timeout? We had what we wanted. We had the play call we wanted. Run it.
Robinson played about 16 plays last time these two teams played up in Ann Arbor last year. Tate Forcier started. Forcier had the advantage of enrolling early and going through spring football. And Robinson, they said, came a long way after this spring and won the starting job. 4 receivers now in on 3rd and 5. Robinson pumps, throws, incomplete. Looking for Daryl Stoneham. Good coverage by Richard Council. Here comes a Michigan punt, Danny.
Great coverage by Richard Council on the outside. Denard Robinson gives it a pump fake. And just a little bit underthrown there as well to Daryl Stoneham. Richard Council's a guy who's had a little bit of an up and down year this year, but comes up big on a 3rd down for Indiana there.
Coach Rodriguez continues to talk to Robinson on the sideline. Tandon Doss awaits the Will Hagerup punt. They don't want Doss to touch that ball. He's such a dynamic returner. That punt goes out of bounds at the 17-yard line. 36-yard punt. Indiana fans hoping for their first win over Michigan since 1987, well before those guys were born. ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week. Brought to you by Allstate. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate. Are you in good hands? Welcome back to Bloomington, Indiana. I have a heck of a ball game going on for you. 10:33 left to go in the 4th quarter. And this is a little field just off to our right in the south end zone where they let little kids run around for the entire game.
They've been having a blast out there, too. I would have been out there as a young kid, that's for sure.
And when Ben Chappell was a little kid, he's from Bloomington, Indiana, he would come to the stadium, well, his parents would come, and Ben would be like those little kids. He'd be out rolling around on the hills and having a good time.
He really is the pride of Bloomington. Went to Bloomington South High School and continues. And you talk about being a hometown hero. If he could pull off the upset today,
that would be quite the man. And look at the Michigan defense. They've been struggling all year and certainly struggling in this game. The Michigan defense giving up a total of 400 yards coming into this game, last in the Big Ten, 93rd in the nation. And they've given up a ton of yards so far to Indiana. 410 through the air, 473 overall.
And defensive coordinator Greg Robinson has taken a little heat for some of their woes that they faced earlier this season, and Michigan needs to dial up a big stop here if they want to win this game.
Antonio Banks, the back in the pistol on 1st down, gets it right up the middle, and he's stopped a couple of yards downfield by Jonas Mouton.
Jonas Mouton with his 10th tackle on the day. And that's the type of plays you got to step up meet the running back in the hole and stuff him. And once again, it's one of those plays where it's not a huge success, but at least it keeps them honest. To keep it on the ground, it'll open things up in the passing game.
2nd and 8 now for the Hoosiers. Doss in motion. He has had a terrific game. Chappell looks at him and now has to throw it away. And Martin with maybe a late hit.
And Ben Chappell's been under a little duress in this second half. Michigan has dialed up the pressure. The luxury they've had is they haven't had to blitz too much, able to do it with a 3-man front, and this time it finally catches up with them. Mike Martin with the huge sack. So coming back here, they just had a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty.
And that's on Mike Martin. So the defense doing its job, getting the pressure, terrific coverage. There was great coverage out there on Doss. And then Martin, with the late hit, gives Indiana a first down on the 35. So instead of a 3rd and 8, it's a 1st and 10 from the 35. Willis runs into a lot of trouble on the right side. Obi Aze, number 45, the 5th-year senior out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, stops him for no gain.
And Pam, this might be the quarterback coming out in me, but I'm saying now, maybe you do just abandon the running game. You are trying to keep them honest. I like the fact that they're calling it, but they have definitely had way more success through the air.
And especially now, down by a touchdown.
Well, I think they're trying to get them out of that 3-man rush. They want to force them to bring 4 and 5 defenders, create some better matchups.
3-man rush again. Chappell with time, breaks down and threw it behind his intended receiver, Belcher. Chappell ends up on the field turf yet again.
And really, Ben, surveying the field, there's just nobody open to go with the football. Gets drilled once again right as he's releasing it. And that's going to be something they're going to have to figure out, is how to get some guys open with 8 defenders.
It was Ryan Van Bergen who got the hit on Ben the last time. 52 pass attempts for Chappell. And here's a 3rd and 10. They've done well on 3rd and longs. That one's well overthrown. Boy, triple coverage down there on Terrence Turner. Floyd and Gordon among those Wolverines downfield, and the Hoosiers have no choice but to punt it away.
And once again, it's just a simple matchup problem that Indiana's having a struggle with right now. They're not able to outmatch the Michigan defense. They're dropping 8 guys in coverage, and there's just nowhere to go with the football for Ben Chappell.
Chris Hagerup in to punt. The elder of the 2 Hagerup brothers we're seeing punting today. Short kick. That is downed at the 39. That's only a 26-yard punt for Hagerup. ESPNU's coverage of college football continues tonight, beginning at 7 Eastern. We'll take you to the ACC. Georgia Tech and Josh Nesbitt take on Wake Forest. Follow that at 10:30 Eastern time. South Carolina State on the road at Florida A&M. College football primetime presented by 5 Hour Energy on ESPNU, part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. Georgia Tech playing tonight. 4 straight wins on the road, running the ball as you would think under a Paul Johnson offense. Robinson hung on to it that time, and he was met by Darius Johnson, picked up about 3 tough yards. We will be at Georgia Tech next week for Virginia at Georgia Tech. Let's go back to this play.
Darius Johnson, the end, number 44, right in your screen, does a great job redirecting. He's got the unenviable job of having to take Denard Robinson or the back. That time he did an outstanding job giving up the run and coming out after Denard and closing in on him.
Look what the Indiana's defense has done, really stiffening up in the last 3 drives, forcing 3 punts out of the last 4. Robinson down by Donnell Jones. Let's get Dari Nowkhah's update. Dari. Thank you very much, Doris. Some great finishes on the way. Now Michigan facing a 3rd and 8, up a touchdown. And a throw downfield, Robinson trying to connect with the other Robinson, Terrence Robinson, and just out of his reach.
Denard gets a chance. He sees the spread. They have 0 coverage, which means there is no safety help back here. He's got one-on-one matchup, takes the shot, and has the open receiver on the straight fade route up the field and just overthrows him by a hair. But once again, missed opportunity for Denard Robinson.
The Indiana defense gave up 4 touchdowns on Michigan's first 6 possessions. Now have forced 4 punts out of their last 5, including this one by Will Hagerup. Doss lets it go. Michigan can't quite get there, just dribbled into the end zone. So Indiana gets it at the 20 after a 58-yard punt by Hagerup. So here comes the Indiana offense. The Michigan fans a little bit nervous. Thank you very much, Dari. Got a great finish on tap for you here. Indiana with the football down 7. What has been a seesaw battle, but no one has scored yet here in the 4th quarter. Ben Chappell, the senior quarterback from right here in Bloomington, tosses it to Tandon Doss, who has been his best offensive weapon today. And Doss picks up the first down and 13 yards.
Tandon Doss able to pick up a huge gainer, and you just talked about nobody scoring in the 4th quarter. And this is a situation where both teams get a little bit tighter. You start thinking about the situation you're in. Indiana's going for their first win since 1987. Makes it that much tougher to get over the hump.
Have not beaten Michigan in 16 straight times, dating back to 1987. Doss again. Past the 40-yard line. Gordon with the stop, but 8 more yards for Doss.
Doss comes across in motion, takes a little hint of a play-action fake. Chappell just gives him an accurate pass where he's able to keep moving, keep his momentum going towards the line of scrimmage, and have another successful play.
Brings up a sec short. Willis lunges forward for the first down. Martin with the stop.
And really, you almost feel like this is Indiana's opportunity where they have to score on this drive if they want to have a chance at winning this football game. 6 minutes, plenty of time left. They've got to match Michigan's point total on this drive.
After so much scoring at the beginning of this game, we've now gone 15 minutes of clock time without any points. Pam Ward along with Danny Cannell. Michigan leading Indiana 35-28. Terrence Turner gets it, breaks free, and is stopped a couple of yards short of the first down. Cameron Gordon now in double digits in tackles for Michigan.
And really, Indiana is going to the short passing game to replace their running game. They weren't able to run the ball effectively against this three-man front, so they abandoned it. Go with the quick passes to the wide receivers. Terrence Turner there, Tandon Doss. Those two guys have become their running game this series.
Ben Chappell over 400 yards through the air. Another run up the middle by Trey Burgess this time, picks up the Indiana first down.
And just by going to those wide receivers, letting them kind of spread the field out a little bit, opens the things up for Trey Burgess to get in there and pick up some hard yardage on the ground, which they have not been able to do at all in the second half.
Indiana with 20 more first downs than Michigan. The numbers are just staggering. But Michigan has the lead. Ben Chappell setting school records for completions and yards today through the air. 39 completions, 427 passing yards. That was messed up. Chappell is not happy about it.
Snap infraction, number 60 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
The infraction on Will Maddie, the sophomore center who has started every career game here for Indiana. Hoosiers with all 3 timeouts remaining, inside 4.5 minutes. Four receivers in for Chappell. Throws it, good catch, going back. Tandon Doss having the best game of his Indiana career. Let's go back to Dari Nowkhah in the studio. Another great game, thank you, Dari. We've got a 7-pointer ourselves inside 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. Still the 3-man rush, still great coverage, so they go underneath to Burgess, who brings it in for about a 5-yard gain.
Denard Robinson, since he left the game, has not been as effective. You see his numbers right there, was absolutely shredding up Indiana's defense before he got hurt. And since he's been back, he just has not looked comfortable running the ball, throwing the ball in any aspect of the game. He's just been off for whatever reason. And he's going to have to be prepared to come back on the field in possibly a tie football game.
Reed hurt that bruised left knee that he hurt last week, went out for a couple of plays. 3rd and 5 in what certainly has to be 4-down territory for Chappell. And they're going to need a 4th down as he overthrew Tandon Doss.
And Indiana right here is almost in the exact same field position where they went for it on 4th and 15 before. Ben Chappell had an open curl route, but it becomes a problem when there's a big linebacker right in your face. Number 88, Craig Rowe, their hybrid linebacker. Instead of rushing the passer, he dropped in the passing lane, which really forced Chappell's high throw.
Yep, Rowe is 6'5", and he had to get it over his hands. Indiana going for it on 4th down with 5 receivers. 4 to the right of Chappell. He goes to that side, and it's complete for the first down. Tandon Doss with another huge catch. First down, Hoosiers.
What a huge conversion on 4th down. Tandon Doss goes out to the flat first, comes back underneath Michigan's defense. Ben Chappell delivers another perfectly thrown ball under pressure for a huge 4th down conversion.
15 catches for 221 yards for Tandon Doss. A huge day, but even huger, Indiana hangs on to the football. Handoff. Kovacs meets Willis just as soon as he got the football. They picked up nothing.
Well, Indiana's been struggling running the football against Michigan's 3-man front, and one way to do it is just get the numbers in your favor. That time they had 6 offensive linemen on the field, but Michigan is still able to stuff the run.
Indiana dead last in the Big Ten in rushing offense coming into this game. Number 1 in pass offense. 5 receivers now for Chappell, 2 to his left and then 3 to his right. Hughes in motion now floods 4 receivers to the right. Chappell looking the other way, has to improvise, go over the middle, and it's skipped, incomplete to Deweese Wilson. Another big 3rd down, this time 3rd and 10 coming up.
Ben Chappell once again throwing under duress, but having trouble finding guys down the field. Michigan's pretty much playing a bend don't break defense right now, giving Ben Chappell underneath throws, the wide receiver screens, the 5-yard hitches, forcing Indiana to take the slow drive and do it the hard way. Unbelievable time of possession. Indiana absolutely dominating the game.
Both teams over 500 yards of offense. Little dump pass, nicely delivered to Willis, who was tackled by Mike Martin. But they only picked up 5 yards.
How about Mike Martin, the big defensive nose tackle in the middle? Watch him redirect. He senses the screen coming right over his head, but then his closing speed on Darius Willis. That is a nose tackle catching up from behind a running back.
And a big tackle it was, brings up a 4th and 5. Indiana burns its first timeout while they deliberate. Let's go back and get an update from Dari Nowkhah. All right, Dari. Indiana, Bill Lynch's team on a 61-yard drive so far. They've eaten up a lot of clock, but they are facing right now a 4th and 5, converted on a 4th down earlier on this drive. Where do we think they go now? Tandon Doss?
Well, I think they spread them out. It's been what's working, and yeah, I think either Doss or Turner, so you got to find. They haven't been to Ted Bolzer in quite a while either. They're tight end. But this situation, 4th down and 5, 1:20 left in the game. Their season is definitely on the line right here. All their hopes of upsetting Michigan at home lie on this play.
Chappell has a wide open Darius Willis. He breaks a tackle and scores the touchdown on 4th down. Indiana does it again. Willis's 3rd touchdown of the game, his first touchdown reception, capping off an 80-yard drive. Mitch Ewald's extra point to tie. Bill Lynch's team ties it up with 1:15 left to go, converting 2 huge 4th downs.
Well, you don't like to call it a pick, but this linebacker right here is accountable for this back who's going to come in the flat. But watch the wide receiver come from the outside, just running his route, rubs off. Look at the collision right there. That's what created the open space. And then the missed tackle by Jordan Kovacs is what opened up the touchdown. Darius Willis did the rest.
Willis, the sophomore from Indianapolis. 2 touchdown runs and that huge 19-yard touchdown catch to tie this game up for the 5th time at 35 apiece.
What a great tug of war between these offenses right now. It really almost feels like one of those games where whoever has the ball last is going to be the team that ends up winning.
Indiana went up first, 7-0. Then Michigan tied it. So no team has led by more than a touchdown in this game, and every time the other team has come back to tie it.
Just great answers by each offense. And you talk about playmakers, a couple of superstars playing in this game. Denard Robinson, Ben Chappell, 2 totally opposite quarterbacks, and yet they're both extremely productive.
Time left for Michigan. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Stoneham doesn't handle the kick cleanly and is taken down about the 27-yard line. So Robinson in the 3rd quarter favored his left knee, the knee he bruised last week. Before that, much more productive than after that.
And you talk about signature moments in a Heisman season. Obviously had the huge game against Notre Dame, but right here on the road in Indiana, a chance to bring his team back and drive down the field for a winning touchdown. These are the types of moments that Heisman voters absolutely love.
He's hanging on to it all the way, and Robinson, who started out this game on his first carry by going 72 yards for a touchdown, picks up 8. Jeff Thomas makes the stop, the clock rolling inside 1 minute now.
This should be a situation Michigan should be very comfortable running a no huddle. They run the no huddle quite a bit in their offense. They'll just have to speed it up just a hair.
Robinson calls his own number, gets the first down. Always a threat to break it to midfield. Adrian Burks made the stop. 17 more yards on the ground for the super sophomore.
And that play was almost identical to the one he ran earlier for a 72-yard touchdown where he beat Mitchell Evans in the open field. That time, Mitchell Evans able to slow him down just enough to get somebody to come over and help him bring him down.
33 seconds remaining. Low snap. Robinson picks it up, runs towards the sideline, and gets a couple of yards. 29 seconds left.
And Rich Rodriguez clearly leaning on his quarterback, his dynamic, versatile QB in the last seconds of this game, saying, hey, Denard Robinson, you're going to win this game for us. You're going to be the guy who's going to take us down the field.
And the kicking game is not good for Michigan. They didn't attempt a field goal at all last week. Brendan Gibbons and Seth Brookhuizen, neither one of them have been solid. Both of them redshirt freshmen. Robinson gets hit, throws it up, and it is caught. Caught by Junior Hemingway, who went up and out-battled Richard Council for the football.
What an outstanding throw under pressure. Denard Robinson gets absolutely drilled by Larry Black, but has the presence of mind to give his receiver a chance on the football. Just gives Junior Hemingway a perfectly placed jump ball, and he does the rest, going over Richard Council to make the play of the game to this point.
Wow, a 42-yard reception for Hemingway, who has a 70-yard touchdown catch earlier in this game. So now 21 seconds left to go. Michigan now with 1 timeout remaining.
And you just talked about their kicking woes. I don't think there is any such thing as a gimme for Michigan with their special teams right now. This is an opportunity where I think they're going to want to say, hey, I think Rich Rodriguez is saying, let's not put it in the feet of our kicker. Let's go ahead and ram it in there, make sure we get 7 points instead of 3.
Denard Robinson continues to etch his name into the record books.
Well, in primetime players like this, guys that are human highlight reels, step up in big situations. He obviously was a little bit nicked up with the injury, but he's absolutely stepped up to the plate in this type of situation.
No quarterback has ever done that in his career, and Robinson has done it twice now in this season. First and goal, Vincent Smith, the running back, next to Robinson. But it's all Denard. Cuts inside into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan. For the second year in a row, Michigan on its way to breaking Indiana's heart. There's a scuffle on the field after the play as we take a look at the touchdown.
Denard Robinson showing the ability, the vision to see the crease and taking it. Rich Rodriguez obviously not happy with what went on after the play.
4-yard touchdown run by Robinson. There are flags down on the field.
Okay.
And some players had to be separated.
And there is a lot of laundry on the field right now, too.
Touchdown will definitely stand. The flag's coming down well after the play. Denard Robinson fired up. He took him 73 yards in only 58 seconds, capping it off with his second touchdown run of the game.
And the officials trying to sort out the situation on the field, trying to figure out who started it, who retaliated, making sure they get the right call on the field. But Rich Rodriguez, extremely animated.
Personal foul, number 77 on the offense. The touchdown is good. The penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
That's Taylor Lewan, the redshirt freshman who started at left tackle today.
And Rich Rodriguez is going to take matters into his own hands, say, hey, where's my guy? Get him off the field. Get his guys off the field. He doesn't want to lose guys for another game. He does a great job finding the problem and correcting it.
Brookhuizen to add the extra point. And Michigan goes on top with 17 seconds left to go, 42-35. Lewan, number 77, being restrained. His own teammates even upset with him. And this is a young man who is known for being
colorful.
Very colorful. Very, very good word there, Danny.
Well,
sometimes over the top, just a guy with a lot of fire, and that was not the right time to show it.
Well, they said he's a happy, jovial kid. They described him as a great kid, was how Calvin McGee, the offensive coordinator, described him. He's funny, he's animated, but right there just lost his cool. And in this type of situation, your team, you have 17 seconds left on the clock. The 15-yard penalty that's going to be assessed gives Indiana a much better shot of getting down into at least attempting a Hail Mary where Ben Chappell can throw it to the end zone. So every little thing could really hurt you. And you've got to keep in mind, you've got to play next week. So you've got to make sure you're on the field.
So Indiana will see Michigan kick off from the 15. Tandon Doss, a very, very dangerous returner. And we've seen him have a career day as a receiver. Brookhuizen to kick off from the 15. Good kickoff. Doss has to retreat back to his own 15. Up to the 35 with 12 seconds left to go. Indiana with 2 timeouts. That was a 20-yard return for Doss. So Ben Chappell leading the Big Ten in passing, limping around out there. He's been bounced around quite a bit, hit quite often, has the arm to get it down quickly, but not a lot of time.
Yeah, he's got to try to pick up maybe 15, 20 yards on this play, get it out of bounds quick, and then take a shot with your Hail Mary for the last play of the game.
Belcher on the slant, and that's almost the exact same play that ended the game last year. Belcher was tussling with Talbot, but came up with it. There was a controversial interception that ended the game last year in Ann Arbor. 6 seconds left in a timeout.
And Rich Rodriguez really put it on the shoulders of Denard Robinson, ran the QB sweep to the left. They've been running all day long. You think maybe he'll try to stretch it to the outside, but he sees a little flash of red in the end zone, sticks his shoulder down after being beaten up all day, finds the end zone to put Michigan on top.
Denard Robinson, the front runner for the Heisman Trophy coming into this weekend, and has done little to refute that. That's the rushing numbers, a couple of rushing touchdowns for him, including a 72-yarder back in the first quarter. He's also thrown for 3 touchdowns. Still number 1 on your list?
Absolutely. He might have vaulted into a clear-cut lead.
6 seconds left for Indiana. Chappell, this is going to be the last play of the game. Heaves it. And it is knocked down by Michigan. The University of Michigan has defeated Indiana for the 17th straight time, and now 32 out of the last 33 times they have played. And for the second year in a row, Indiana gave them all they could handle, but Michigan wins it on late scores.
And you were just talking about Heisman hopeful Denard Robinson. What we just talked about before the last drive was his opportunity to make a statement, to have a signature moment. Denard Robinson put this offense on his shoulders and drove the entire length of the field for the winning touchdown as time expired.
Denard Robinson accounting for 494 yards of offense and 5 touchdowns. And you see Rodriguez, he looked up at the clock and he knew the way Chappell was running around down there that would be the last play. Denard Robinson, you got it again. Michigan goes to 5-0. And like last year, they open up their Big Ten season with a win against Indiana. Next week, they have Michigan State coming into Ann Arbor. What a game. Just what we expected, Danny.
Absolutely. A lot of offense, a lot of stellar play from both quarterbacks, a lot of athletes on both sides of the field, and an absolutely stellar offensive performances by both teams. And I think both teams are going to have to correct some issues that they have on the defensive side of the ball if they want to have successful seasons.
That's right. Ben Chappell threw for 480 yards and 3 touchdowns today. Robinson again accounting for 494 yards of offense and 5 touchdowns. Tandon Doss, 15 catches for an incredible 221 yards for Indiana. But Denard Robinson plays for the other team. Once again, Michigan beats Indiana 42-35. Coming up next, Sports Center U. Then the top of the hour, it's Georgia Tech and Wake Forest. This has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Danny Cannell and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Pam Ward. This has been a great one in Indiana. Michigan wins it 42-35. I'm Pam Ward saying so long from Bloomington, and here's Dari Noka in the studio.